But
Paul's back.
I'm not, yeah, they were all under extreme. They get tired. They did say, we get scared when the other teams start scoring and it's not enough.
Pile over there.
We all shut down. I was like, yeah, you guys crumble like a folding table.
I expect.
That's nice.
No,
Well, you know, I think maybe run the groups we have and then switch, because that will confuse the defense. Okay. Yeah.
Hey now.
So we'll see how Friday.
You never forgot
Yeah, or Wednesday, what, 7 o'clock?
All right, we're a couple minutes after 7. We have a long agenda, so let's go ahead and get started. As most of you know, the city lost a important member of our community last week, so I would like to have a moment of silence for Clyde. And then I would like Becca, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, we would appreciate it. So we can stand. Silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Call this meeting to order. We'll open with public comments. Do we have any public comments this evening? Anybody online?
No, there's nobody online.
Okay. All right, no public comments. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting?
I make a motion.
On a second.
Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. The minutes for last meeting have been approved.
Yeah.
Treasurer's report, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. I'll second.
Wait, do we have any discussion on the treasurer's report? We just got been talking business, the budget, so. You had John some questions, okay, nothing? All right, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. All right, the treasurer's report has been approved. All right, so before we get into items of business, like I said, we have a lot of items, so we want to try and keep on track. Let's keep discussion going, but if I rein you in and don't take offense to it, and if I can start wandering on like I'm doing now, rein me. So, okay, all right, perfect. All right, number 1. Appointing Sarah Danford to the library board.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Sarah to the library board. I second that.
All right, do we have any discussion on that? Should have her email and a little bit of a biography and.
She's super sweet.
I think she'll fit in really well. She has really good ideas.
Good.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approving Sarah to the library board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, Sarah has been approved. Number 2, appointing Melissa Bashaw to the Board of Review.
I make a motion.
I second.
All right, discussion. Do you have any information?
I think she's gonna fit in really because she can do the training and stuff like that, and she has this
A
background.
little letter.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, any other discussion? All right. All in favor of approving Melissa to the Board of Review, say aye.
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 All opposed? Aye. All right, Melissa has been approved. Approval of the June 30th, 2020 audit report. 2022, sorry, thank you.
I make a motion to accept the audit report for June 30th.
My second.
Any discussion?
You as the auditor,
Oh,
briefly go over.
there's some things she needs to.
Can you all hear me?
They usually do a
Yes,
quick
yes.
review.
Okay, all right,
Perfect. Can you, I guess, are you all able to see me or just hear me?
Yes.
Both.
both,
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen briefly with you. And it's just going to be a quick PowerPoint of the audit and our summary. So to start, we issued an unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance. There were no internal control deficiencies, no deficit fund balances, and no budget deficiencies. So that's always a great thing, always what we want to see. So the city is doing a great job there. The city's fund balances across all governmental funds as of June 30th was about 1.9 million. That was an increase of $155,538. The general fund ending fund balance was $1,179,055. That was a decrease of $11,353. Unassigned fund balance was $747,387, or approximately 80.5% of the annualized expenditures and transfers out. Now the GFOA recommends between 17 and 25%, so the city is far above that and doing really well. And you can see in this chart here over the last 4 years. So this blue is the unassigned fund balance. The orange is the total general fund balance, and then expenditures and transfers. So you can see that fund balance is kind of have stayed steady the last couple of years with an increase in expenditures. Most of the activity from the previous year is relatively the same this year. Cash increased by about $52,000 in the governmental funds. That's due to increased property tax revenue. They also had a decrease due to the community block grant revenue that was received in 2021 that didn't get received in 2022. The only other major thing to note from the prior year is this $1.4 million transfer that transferred from the governmental funds to the business type activities for fixed assets that belonged to the sewer. And then the last thing I had was that the pension is 88.4% funded as of the December 31st, 2021 plan year. So that's well above the state's requirement of 60%. So doing well there. And that's all I had.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Mhm.
Questions?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was easy. You got off easy.
Well, it's all good news. It's so, all right, any more discussion? More questions? All right, so approval of the 2022 audit report. All in favor? We need to do it.
Nope, she motioned, just reminding.
Got a vote? Yep, I was gonna vote. Do we,
Yep.
we don't need to do it.
Oh, we're good. Yes, we need to
Need
roll
to
call.
roll call. Okay, go ahead, roll call.
Who did I start with last month? Oh, right there, I see. Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Judd.
Yeah.
Geisler.
Yes. All right, the June 30th, 2022 audit report has been approved. Thank you again.
Great, thank you. You all have a good night.
Too.
All right, bye.
Stay through the lunch.
We have to pay her.
Oh. All right, number 6, plan development, 120 Railroad. How do you want to do this, Paula?
Well, the developer's here
Yep.
and Justin is here, so I don't know if you wanted to
So-
hear a little bit about the project, ask them some questions.
So let me just start, right? So 120 Railroad is the area behind PDP's where the elevator used to be, right? We have a number of acres up there that we've been looking for folks to develop, right? Brian has come forward from Alan Edward Homes with a proposal for us, right? And that's what we're gonna discuss tonight. And you're looking at putting 30 single family homes back there and then having them be rental property for you, as I understand.
Yes.
Right? There are some things that we talked about, that Paula has talked about, like, we would sell them the property for $1. They would have the phase 2 all considered, yeah, I'm just reading through this. With the sewer connection, so there's a, I don't know what that, how much that is, but their sewer connection to our sewer would be waived, right? Pilot ordinance. We'll have to talk about that more. Would have to be approved, and then we would have to have a planned unit development put together. So that's about what I know about it. So I will let you guys give us more information.
All right, well, maybe I'll kick off here.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, Justin Horvath, Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership. Happy to be here tonight in support of Brian and his project. We've traditionally been an organization that's been focused on business development, trying to help support, bring business, grow business in Shiawassee County. We've done work here in the city. I've worked with Paula for 20 years in my job. We've done a lot of projects together, but in the last couple of years, we have really increased our focus on housing development, because the reality is we have a shortage of talent here. We have companies that can't get people. And the reality of that is we simply don't have enough places to put people. We don't have enough single family homes, condos, apartments in Langsburg, and quite honestly, anywhere in Shiawassee County. So my organization made it a mission over the last year or two to start to build relationships with builders, developers from throughout not only Shiawassee County and mid-Michigan, but really throughout the state, and try to identify ways to attract these opportunities to the county. So we've had the pleasure of getting to know Brian and his team recently. We're really excited not only about working with them, but their business model, which I think works really well. And Brian said, hey, I'd really like to understand Shiawassee County. I'd like to get around the community. Can we take a drive and meet some folks? So I got a hold of Paula and I said, Paula, I got a home builder that wants to come by Langsburg. And so we sat down, when was that now? That was before Christmas. Yeah. Came over here, actually had a nice walk through the downtown, took a look at the property, and here we are. So I'll let Brian tell you more about his company and his plan, but quite honestly, I believe they have, as I said, the model, they have the team, they have the firepower to be able to do this, to be very successful, and Paul and I have talked about this for a while. We've had a lot of tire kickers over the years, people we've talked to that say they want to do something, and we work with them and we're professional, but quite honestly, a lot of them just don't have enough heft to be able to move a project across the finish line, to take it from an idea to action. These guys do. They have the ability to do that. So I'm very confident coming tonight, recommending them to you, thinking that this is going to be a really good deal for the city. This would be, I believe, Paul, we talked, the largest private sector investment that we've probably worked on together in 20 years in Langsburg. That's how big this could be for the community. And the last thing I'll say, while it does provide more housing options, which certainly is going to help a lot of ways, what I'm really excited about is this is going to be in the downtown area. And the walkability for the residents of this development to be able to go to the local shops and restaurants, it's going to be a win for everybody. So I think that downtown housing piece is really, really exciting too. So so they have my full support, and maybe if we could turn it over to Brian, he could tell you more about what their plans are.
Excellent. I've got two sample renderings here. I'll put on the table that you guys can pass around. And I'll give you a brief background on the company and then our plans here, and then take any questions you might have. We're about 25 years old as a family-owned company. Right now, we currently build about 1,000 single-family homes a year. We're based in Portage, Michigan. The homes retail from about $200,000 to $600,000. About 5 years ago, the ownership group wanted to get involved in building, to see if we could do build to rent, build to lease houses. They started that, they found they were quite good at it. Before you knew it, we had a portfolio of about 500 rental homes, that average rent was about $2,600 a month in rental. In doing that, they realized about a third of the rent payment was going towards non-homestead property taxes. And so that price point of $2,500, $2,600 works for a lot of areas. In some areas, it just doesn't work, and the homes won't be able to build. And so about 3 or 4 months ago, they hired me. I spent about 10 years in government, in the mayor's office in the city of Detroit, doing demolition. So I understand the pressures of government, so seeing everyone here tonight, I was telling Justin, they do a lot of full-time jobs and they're here, so it just is a fan of government, thank you for your service. But this project really excites us because if we can get the pilot legislation passed, and we're doing this in communities around Michigan, the renderings you're seeing right now are specifically tailored for Three Rivers. I'm going there tomorrow morning to get this project across the finish line there. But we can build the homes that would normally lease for $2,500 and $2,600 a month, for around $1,500 a month. I think they're really beautiful neoclassical design. Based on the renderings of the site, we can configure them to work with the site we have. I know it's a long and narrow site, but I think it lends itself really well to this type of development. So enough of me talking. If you guys have any questions.
Maybe you said it and I meant to, I was looking, how many do you think that maybe you could get in there?
We think in the neighborhood of 30.
That's what I was trying to figure out, trying to, look at the layout of the land and
I
trying
know,
to
I'm like-
picture what. That's what I was
Yeah.
kind of curious on what exactly I'm looking at these pictures, but,
So the front load plans you see there about
Yeah.
the chassis is about 25 feet wide. And you got about 1,000 feet of frontage on railroad. Back there according to our modeling.
Like back by the car wash, the bar and all that.
Yeah, you go straight back from behind the Beacon Place.
What about that square footage of these?
1,440 pieces. So it'd be.
So that's for even.
That's right.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
extremely
that's-
big.
yeah.
384 bedrooms, 2 baths. Full yard.
good efficiency.
Pardon me?
Good efficiency.
Yeah, the HERS rating is below 60 in a lot of our units. If you compare owning our current homes to one similar built 50 years ago, you're looking at saving about $2,000 a year. So we build a lot of homes, so you can get pretty good at, if we add this year and do this year, we can really drive down the cost of ownership.
So the pilot, is called payment in lieu of taxes. So we are allowed to negotiate that in, development agreements or the exchange of property, or we're allowed to do that. And then the new workforce development
Yes.
is what we're using.
Yes, so LIHTC's, if you guys have had LIHTC projects here, no, so for, I think, a couple decades, if you had a MISTA-backed project, you could do a pilot, but you had to have MISTA involved in it.
So we did have the pilot, but I don't know about the LIHTC word.
Low income housing. tax
Okay,
credit.
because it was a MISTA, it was under
Yeah.
that MISTA Act.
Yep.
It was the apartments down by the elementary school. Those were in a
Yes.
pilot. And then the senior citizens down here is in a pilot.
Yep.
So we have some experience with the pilot.
Yeah, so the only thing new that the legislation, the governor just signed, it was passed by bipartisan through both houses, is that rather than having it be a 3-party deal where you have the developer, MISTA, and the city, now it is just, it can be the city and the developer negotiate the pilot deal.
So is this gonna be like, cause I know the apartments down there by what is it, the elementary school, and that used to be the middle school. Is it gonna be like, is this gonna be like for low?
No,
Okay,
no, thank you for asking that
Yep.
question. These are, in my role, I was director of workforce housing. Workforce housing as a defined term, and it goes by missing middle or attainable housing. It's strictly speaking, 80% AMI to 120% AMI. And so that's the market we're gonna serve with these.
AMI stands for.
Area median income. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of acronyms.
And, like, as we talked about our plans, like the DDA plan, the, economic development plan, those kind of, all of our master plan, all of them discuss increasing residential density in our downtown. Every single one of our plans has that as a goal in it. So this is not something new. We've been looking at this. We've been trying to figure out how we can get some housing downtown.
Everybody's looking for housing.
So we've been looking for it before it was cool.
Touche.
I'm just saying.
I think having Winesburg considered to be a walkable community is really important, and that's would be really helpful. Can you kind of, either you or Paula, this phase 2 has to be completed by the city.
So the contingent of, go ahead.
But we actually, when we were working with the land bank on the funding. That, remember I sent in that application to the land bank. When, at that time, we got a quote from Triterra to do the phase 2. Because that was one of the things we were asking for funding for. And so they said, well, we'll have to update the phase 1. And we'll have to do the phase 2, then we might have to put together some remediation plans and a new care. And that all is about $12,500, I think. And I'm pretty sure by tomorrow I'll have an agreement in my hand to pay for that from the MEDC.
And that's looking at the land and any
Yep.
like that, right?
Yep, so
Making sure there's
it's an
nothing-
environmental.
Environmental is term I
assessment.
was looking.
Yes, so that's what they would like us to complete that. I reached out to my friends at the MEDC and they sent me an email today that they would cover it and I'll have an agreement coming, so.
So I also,
Very exciting.
so I just question, I guess, too, as far as like the city, what are our workers gonna be doing here to it? Or, well, there was something in there, I
That's a
read,
good question. To upkeep that.
or does that, all those mountains like for plowing and stuff, or are they planting some trees, or are they doing?
Well, it will be their property. So, are you gonna put a road in there that would be our public road,
We would utilize the road that's already existing,
right?
and any landscaping on site we would maintain.
Okay,
We would do irrigation, everything like that.
So would you? City workers aside, would you be doing the outside maintenance, lawn mowing and
Absolutely.
all that? So
Yes.
as rental properties, to me, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
That's
right,
a
right.
plus, right? And so.
I spent 10 years fighting blight, Detroit.
Yeah.
That off of their plate. because
Yes.
right now-
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at.
No,
Homeowner not doing it,
Right.
it's the other side.
That was, kind of worried me a little bit, they got enough on their plate right now, so.
Yeah.
If we don't keep it,
So
so,
would we have to plow? Snow?
The street, I believe so.
Street?
yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
which is fine, I'm just,
So-
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, with that being down that road, how is that gonna affect being 30 houses, the traffic pattern? Do we need to look at putting another light in there possibly or something like that?
I can't speak to that. I haven't looked at the traffic patterns.
Okay.
I think that once I mean, because we haven't really seen a real true layout.
Exactly.
And so what we have going through there is really not a road right now. Railroad is on one side, right? And then Roosevelt Road goes towards McClintock, but the other hasn't been designated street.
Okay.
We can designate that street. Are you talking about fixing them on railroad?
Where would
Or-
you,
So I think the way this would happen is, we would get an approved PA that is not the execution of the deal. That's the kind of outline different rights, not rights, responsibilities of each party to close the deal. During that timeline, the phase 2 would occur. We would know if there's environmental contamination or not, and we would know if we can put residential structures on there or not. Or if there is, what could possibly happen is there's maybe a minor surface level amount that can be quickly remediated. Then we would work towards engineering, which would take about 1 to 3 months. We would work closely with you guys on renderings, and this is how it would look. So we're at the first stage of this, where it's saying, here's the rendering done on 3 Rivers. Here's the number of units we think we can fit. Would the garages be attached? Would they be detached? Which way would they face? That stuff is still, we want to kind of develop with you guys.
And that's
because we think you guys know Lanesburg better than we do.
So we have, when we purchased this property, I think I have a small map of it here. There. This one? Yep. So if you look at, so there's Railroad Street right here, PDP's is right in front of this property. Then the next section is where like you go behind Twilligers and then the car wash and the fire pump. And then that goes down to Clinton. And at Clinton Street, we actually bought that piece so that could come through. So we could actually like make that road and that.
Like an access.
Yeah,
right,
easy to
right.
hear.
Like where it goes down the hill.
Mhm.
Cause I think it was Greg that started it, the traffic patterns. I mean, I come down
It's right here.
William Street or Woodley Alley, right? And turn here. And sometimes I do have trouble getting out.
Right, but so this is
Right.
what, those are the things that will be figured
Yeah,
out.
right. Yeah, no, I get
If
it.
we decide we want to do this.
Right,
So no, those things aren't determined. Does that make sense?
Right, I just wanted, it's something we need to think about if going forward.
So who made this agreement that's in our package? Is it a sample?
They
agreement?
came from them.
Oh,
Yeah.
could you go over number 17? for me?
I don't have one from
Yeah,
me.
thank you.
The printer before I came wasn't working. Yes, the assignment agreement. So purchasers shall have the right to assign all its rights and delegates obligations under this agreement. Or any existing agreement, newly created LLC, all the affiliates, things like that. So one of the things we do as a family-owned company is we have different LLCs. And so if we have a incentive pool with employees and we transfer ownership to that LLC.
Okay.
That would allow, basically it says whoever steps into our shoes is bound by whatever agreement we create. So if we sell it to anyone, they still have to maintain the grounds, they still have to maintain everything. It kind of keeps the original agreement together through these.
Because you have a very good reputation. I just, I just wondered, I want you to come along and then sell it to somebody that doesn't have it.
Yeah, no, and we're not gonna do that because this is again, a new program for Allen Edwin. And we're not looking, this is gonna be something we do for 10 to 20, 30, 40 years. And so our reputational risk is something we're dealing with.
So where is your company out of, I guess?
Portage, Michigan,
Portage?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little ways away.
I'm based in Detroit too.
Okay, well,
What I have seen, and I kind of touched on this earlier, I've talked to a lot of builders over the last couple of years from all over the place, and most of them are not here, right? We don't have that many builders in the county, and most of them, they know their market, Detroit, Grand Rapids, all that. What Brian and his team have done is understood there are great little markets,
Yeah.
like Shiawassee County, that go underserved. And through their team, their data, I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff because they're a bigger company. They've identified this is a great place to be. Work versus the other, they kind of scratch their head and like, well, we don't know about Shiawassee County. You're pretty small. They don't put the time in and the effort. These guys have. So I think they're going to do very well here. They know the market. The one other thing I'd add, and I've talked to Paul and Brian about this. So we are the staff liaison to the county land bank. And so we have more money coming. It just got appropriated in Lansing, another $250,000 or more that's coming to the Shiawassee Land Bank. Now, we had focused on the other project, Paula, for potential funding, but if this phase 2 reveals some site work, whatever needs to be done, that is a possibility of going to the county land bank to fund that site work in support of this project. So that's another pot of money that could be on the table here.
remediation of some.
Remediation, yeah.
I mean, I kind of looked at it and I was gonna, get a jab in by, hey, you wanna buy my house? And then sell it back to me for $1, that'd be cool. But I mean, that's just saying, that's just reading it, I'm thinking, holy
Yeah.
crap, that's a good deal. I mean, I know what's been spent on that property and when we purchased it and all that stuff too, so
You know what it's happened, what it costs for it to just sit there.
I know, but
This is an amazing.
I'm just looking at being a taxpayer here and what everybody else is gonna say about it, so. We are elected in here, I'm just trying to get some answers.
Well, and the one thing to add to, and I don't know if you, I mean, I want to throw any
Nothing
numbers
wrong
out
with that.
tonight, but this pilot, because right now you're getting 0, right? 'Cause
Correct.
now this pilot, which will go directly to the city, will probably be roughly how much when it's built though?
So if we have rented 1,500, the pilot would be 10%, so it'd be $150 a month times 30 units. We did the math over here.
Yeah. 4,500
45,
a month,
maybe 60,000 a year.
60,000 a year. So there's an answer to your constituents
And that's
about,
for what, 15 years, correct?
15 years is the limit currently.
Yeah, but the property's worth, what do we guess, $70,000-$80,000? So just.
Well, a little bit higher than that. 'Cause I know it was spent for the elevator and then the other little chunk, so.
Well,
land
but
land don't go down.
Yeah, but that
It's
doesn't
going up.
mean, yeah, but, so, okay, let's say it's 120,000, then in 2 years, we've paid for that and everything.
Right,
after that.
Exactly.
The other
I
thing
mean,
I'll add
that's-
too is,
that's-
Exactly.
is when we say, 31 units, these aren't apartment units, these are things that are very conducive to families. And so what you have along with that is, 3 and 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. You got families moving in here with school age kids. That's $10,000 on average per kid for the public school in the area. The sewer fees are passed through, so these are more sewer customers. They're paying for your sewers and things like that.
Can you just
And how
talk
many
about-
wallets in downtown?
Yeah,
Lots of
A
them.
lot more.
Yeah.
All the businesses are gonna be happy to have customers.
Yes, yep.
And that
Yes.
helps us fill the storefronts.
Yes, yes, and one of the things that we found very attractive about Langenberg was one Paula. And not saying that to be a brown nose, but everything I sent the PA over, because one of the things we talk about internally with our leadership is, do we take a risk? Do we do this? Do we do this? And one of the scoring factors was the ability of a municipality to get things done. And the fact that you already had language for the phase 2 in my inbox by that afternoon.
Paul is always ready.
Yeah.
No,
Like I'm here on a, weeknight. There's so many hours in a day, and we're gonna spend our time and money in communities where we're welcomed, and so they can get things done. And so you guys scored very high in that, and the downtown, we spent a lot of time, went to Twilligers, and the driving distance to Lansing. You add all those things together, we're really excited about this.
We're very excited. I couldn't even sleep for like 2 days.
I mean, I'm happy to hear it's not apartments, because
Yeah.
I remember when the other ones were built, and now they look kind of shoddy to me. They weren't, I don't think were really upkept in
I mean,
low income type. You know what I mean? It was great
Yeah.
for its time when it started,
Yeah,
and, the downtown does need some kind of to be revitalized.
yeah,
It's so plain Jane down there, and I mean, more housing, I guess, and so, I mean, I'm kind of tickled to know a little bit more about it, because it's kind of,
Yeah,
you know.
the dollar
Those are
price tag
great.
is gonna raise a lot of eyebrows, I think, it does in a lot of cities. Each unit, we're gonna put about $250,000 in the building. And you'll see that happen pretty quickly when we go. We're not gonna hold this property and do studies for 5 years. We're gonna get rolling with engineering, renderings, and when we build 1,000 homes a year, so we've got an assembly line ready to go.
When would you like to break ground if all works well, ideally?
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, we build throughout the year, we build bases throughout the year. I think we're the only builder in Michigan that has ground heaters. So we like to keep our trades working year round with a steady flow.
you guys put one in my Michigan basement.
all right,
I
so,
do fully expect something from tomorrow from the MEDC to get started on that phase 2. So
What do we do to try to go forward with this?
yeah, that was where I was going, what do
Yeah.
we need to do as a council? I mean, I don't know that we're ready tonight to go, yes,
Well,
we're good.
do it to hold a special
but-
meeting.
so this-
for the-
Yeah, that's,
Right,
that's what I was thinking.
but this agreement just allows us to spend that time, right? If we enter into this purchase agreement, it doesn't bind us to, it just, both of us are in a phase where we're checking things out.
I think it's more of an engagement than a
Yeah.
marriage.
And you were gonna check, Paul, what is your property disposition policy?
I did look it up and it said that, basically, because we've had this site out there, it's been listed on the state of Michigan's site. It's one of our redevelopment sites, and we've made it clear that we want to sell this site. We've already asked the planning commission, the park committee, everybody years ago, we asked them, is there any, thing anybody wants this property for? And everybody agreed it was for development. So that is in line with our policy, and our policy says that we can go ahead and do that. So
Now, do we have to hold a special meeting though to get the public involved, see if anybody's, I mean, how's that gonna go?
it doesn't say we have to do that. It says the city, can evaluate the sales price, relevant factors. I've asked the assessor to prepare an appraisal, but we're allowed to negotiate whatever that property's worth for in exchange for these things we discussed. $6 million investment into downtown Langsford. pretty much covers all of that. It says and we've already done all of these things and we're allowed to negotiate the sale. I mean, nothing says we have to have a public hearing.
So if we did have a public hearing, how quickly? We have a notification and everything like that.
Week,
We've been
isn't it?
pushing it down another month. Is that?
Or the week. The week or how long of a?
Oh, you have to have I mean, you gotta have 15-day. I mean, I guess you don't have to since it's not a required public hearing, but.
I mean, I looked over this Thursday and I was excited. I kind of looked at his, asked around about him and he seems to be a good person, so, and then everybody. Like, the idea of you investing in our city. I think this is really needed in our city.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
from
think
the
we've
public
had so
hearing,
many people, come forward, but I feel like you would actually go through with it.
Yeah, my passion is cities and walkable communities. So I worked in Detroit, you go and you take down one blighted house, turn the whole neighborhood around, right? So to be able to continue my career and do that in cities like this is just incredibly exciting to me. And this is a passionate job.
Yeah, you can see the difference here.
Yeah.
and to your question about public hearing, so like the PUD, the plan unit development, I mean, that is a required public hearing. It will have to go, so the public will have the opportunity to provide input
Okay.
on what's going
For
forward.
sure, when we get to the planning stage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We want to make sure that we explain the money situation. the
Exactly.
pilot And all that, because that
Right,
could,
that's gonna be. a
like,
big
it
thing.
it could have been, yeah, it could have been like really, and people go up, but if they don't understand it.
Right.
But if they do, then.
and I'm not gonna
Sweet.
put Brian on the spot here,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna put him on the spot here, because
Okay.
this is the public meeting. I mean, I guess the question, I don't know how you handle
PR.
PR from a company standpoint, but the more information probably that could be provided now to the public, what's going on would be
Yep.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, our charter allows
Especially
the
small
council to
Everybody
vacate, discontinue, abolish. Or sell a place that's public, just by a resolution of the city council. And it just said that you gotta, you gotta talk through it and. Following actions by council require the affirmative vote of 4 members. Getting rid of property is one of those, so.
Which I think is a good idea. I mean, just matter of the voters out there too. I don't know. I think it's a good thing out there to do something different with that land.
Yeah,
But nothing says you can't have a public hearing if that's what you want to do.
the only thing we've used it for in the last 10 years is for the burnouts, and that stopped, so.
The buck hole.
Oh, does he know about the buck hole?
The buck hole had just come down the last time.
But so he doesn't know that
Yeah,
it
I'll
goes
tell
to
you
there.
that much, that close to the buck hole wouldn't be effective.
No, it'll be gone.
So
No.
if we
There we go.
do spend some time.
I'll put
putting
it
that
all in my
property
front
out
yard.
Okay, that's what I meant, that's what I'm asking, that's part of this property.
Yeah,
That far, that close to Twilly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People.
Okay, so it's right behind Pete.
Yeah.
Other
The,
people think.
the only concern again, and I might, once again, I won't speak for Brian, on this,
Yeah.
but having a purchase agreement in place, once again, it's an engagement, it doesn't lock everything in. Gives them the confidence to start investing money. And short of that, and once again, I'm not speaking for them, if it doesn't get into place, and they probably won't start that investment until. So the sooner we can get that going, I think the better, and knowing that there is gonna be multiple opportunities for public input as we go through this. My personal recommendation would be to move ahead with the agreement tonight, but then get the PR out to the community so they know what's going on.
I'm okay with that, but I don't know what other people are okay. with.
Well, I'm worried too. What about our sewer? Is that gonna sustain it? Is that gonna handle it? 30 more places?
We have enough capacity for about
You know.
300.
Okay, so we still got quite a bit.
We have, yes, we
Okay.
I do have a quick question. So the Lions does a springtime carnival every year, and that's area that gets used too for
Mm-mm.
the carnival right here.
No, they're gonna be behind all that.
They're gonna be right.
Oh,
behind- you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you. Where they,
use
where they
those
stay.
things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was
Just have to
curious.
shift it around where they put.
Skate park. We can move them down to skate park.
I don't know, but I mean, I'm
I mean,
an
we're
accounting
creative.
person. You don't realize what this is gonna bring. to
No,
our
I get it.
Oh, I have tons
Yeah,
of,
okay.
that's awesome. I just.
I get it, but
curious.
I also look at the little things that people are gonna notice in 2 years,
Yeah.
that they're gonna be
Yeah.
fussing about, and it's just, I mean,
It's just kind of planning ahead so that we kind of know what.
we are a
obstacles
creative
we have that
community
we're-
and it'll all be okay and we'll
Right.
figure it out, but.
Always,
So one thing we hear is rich developers getting a tax break to build housing, right? So will be by ordinance restricted in how much rent we can charge. At the beginning, I said these houses can go for $25, $26, $2,700 a month. You can go to our rental website, Copper Bay, to see how we manage our properties. That's our rental arm. And so we're gonna artificially keep our rents lower in exchange for the pilot, to get the families in the downtown.
But not too long.
It's
Not
right,
too
it's a
low.
sweet spot, right? It's
Yeah.
not too low,
But
but it-
1,500 is, I mean, that's that's good.
No, it
for a
is,
brand new
yeah.
house.
if they said 2,500, I'd say we don't have the market for that
Yeah.
much. But 1,500 with what they're gonna build is right there.
Yeah.
I have a question that doesn't have to do with Langsberg.
Yes.
How many developments do you have in like Detroit?
Right now, we don't have any in Detroit proper.
That's just where you're from, you go to the
Yeah,
small.
and if I'm by
Areas.
Detroit City Charter, I'm forbidden from doing work in Detroit until September.
Okay,
Forbidden.
Yes.
forbidden.
Yes, I don't know what the penalty is, like, I get a
Not
published
just
finding, but I don't think they wanna have. Detroit's had some issues with politicians being.
Got it.
So,
That's fair, got
Let
it.
me, let me just put this out here. I think our hesitation is not you guys.
Oh, God.
It's
Yeah.
that we're a new council, new mayor, half the council
This
is
doesn't feel
new.
like hesitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
This isn't bad, and we're in great shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So what do we need to
So
do?
basically what this does is say, we're not gonna sell it to anybody else. We're all gonna go through this due diligent process. And at some point, we might agree between all of us, that this isn't gonna work.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
This does not say we are absolutely gonna have to do this.
Yep.
I mean, we're gonna work through the
Right.
process,
That's number 3. Unless they-
right? So I feel like that's what this document says, that, we're not exchanging anything tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna put a motion out to enter into this land purchase agreement with the Green Development Venture.
I'll second them.
Okay, any other discussion? Any other questions? Anything we need to, want to get answered? Now is the time.
You said it was 80 to 100.
80% to 120% of area minimum.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm sure I'll have questions. I'm in the planning committee, so definitely will have questions.
Okay,
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Judd,
Yeah.
Geisler. Yes. Geisler.
yes. Thank you very much.
Just thank
Now we
you.
get to work.
At least I never get a tour or something.
All right, you guys, give me a half hour.
The olive- Make sure you get the olive burger.
Love the Albert. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you so
everybody.
much for your
Thank you.
input.
We've seen a lot of you guys.
All right, number 7, authorization to request bids for generators. We have a motion.
I make a motion.
A second.
All right, discussions. Yes, I would like to start with just a quick, I don't know if it'd be Dave, quick explanation of what these generators are.
Is Adam on too?
Adam and
Here.
Secretly, I do have Adam on.
Perfect, perfect.
Go ahead, Dave.
There are 2 generators. One updates the one that's at the main lift station. It's back by the lagoon by the salt shed. That was 50 years old when I started 25 years ago.
Okay,
And the other one is to go out at the lift station on Woodbury Road, that there currently is not one.
okay, so when you say lift station, define that.
And sewer lift stations, there,
So it's like the pump.
Okay,
most of our sewer is gravity. We have 3 systems that gravity does, so it has to lift up and push the gravity.
And when we did the SAW grant a few years ago, they did an analysis on our entire system and weaknesses were identified. And replacing these generators or creating a new generator. Protects things down the line, so if if the commercial district were the backup, or whether the school would back up, or where we have some opportunities for failure. And these generators are huge to making sure that doesn't happen.
Is the high school hooked into it?
Yes,
Yes, and that's where the Woodbury one comes into play. We have a portable one that we can take out to West Street, but when power goes down, Woodbury Road controls that end of town and the high school, and then our main one controls everything. So remember, the two we really need to stand by is that, and the other one, we have time to get out.
And the risk of not doing this is if we lose power, everybody sewer backs up. Or
We
what?
have,
I mean,
we have had one incident with that.
yeah, okay. And that's what I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to figure out the
Adam
risk.
might be able to give you.
Yeah, Adam, I mean, what's the risk? I mean,
Yeah, the risk is the amount of response time and being able to address keeping those pump stations up and operational. The main lift station, everything goes through that. So making sure that that station is operational is key for the entire sanitary system. And then Woodbury not having a generator there today means that we have to identify that that station's not running, and then be able to get out there with the portable and get that up and running to make sure that we can keep that from backing up upstream there to the school. So
The other thing we did is these are interchangeable, so if one fails. And one was more important, or one side of town was out, we're trying to make sure they can plug and play, right?
we could pull stuff from pumps and things like that for keeping those in operation. Yes. And then we still have the portable that's available in operation. Now, the one out at Woodbury is planned for natural gas. So that one will have some just general maintenance that we'll have to do, but that should fire up and run as soon as it's realized, switched that it didn't have power. Then the main lift station will have a little bit more attention required to it, but as that'll be diesel. We also did evaluate the possibility of powering the emergency services building with the Woodbury generator, but the building was going to require a significantly larger generator, and they're not both same power service. So the lift station requires a 3-phase power, and the building is a single phase. So it was going to be significantly more expensive to try to do that. That's what the note is as well at the bottom of the memo that's in you guys' packets. Is that that was at least evaluated as a possibility, since we're looking at a new generator at that location.
I don't think of that anyway, but you guys, if we, I can't say you guys know, a future, a future builder situation. I mean, that's more sewers that we
Right.
would have to look at too.
so why not both of them have, I mean, natural gas? I think I have the idea, but
But there isn't currently service out to the main lift station, so that it would be quite a bit more expensive to bring it out there.
okay.
Till we get these new houses.
I was gonna say, so, I mean,
I was just saying, if you guys are planning in the future, I mean, that's something to really keep in
Plausible,
mind. Yeah.
I don't know if they would be the same, but there's $30,000 less for the natural gas one that we could run. Yeah, I'm just throwing out an idea, right? I'm just, you tell me I'm crazy and.
Yeah, we could take a peek at what the service cost increase would be to get out to that location. Whether, because it depends on whether or not they have service in place that is enough to provide the capacity required for that generator.
Yeah, well, the first question would be, would the generator that you have scoped for the Woodbury Road work for the one for the main lift? That would be question number one. Size.
Woodbury, these will be permanent installations. So the Woodbury one is gonna be a bit small for what would be at the main, but let's
So they're
double
not-
check what we were at.
They're not the same. That was my question.
It's not apples to apples.
It's not apples to apples.
Correct. The, yeah, so it was an 80 kilowatt, at the main lift station and 20 at the Woodbury.
I missed that. Okay. They skip that. Okay.
So basically what we're asking for here, we already have a motion is to take these out to bid. And we're looking at a year.
Yeah, it was at least 52 weeks.
They're out, like they can't get the generators. So right now, we're just getting a bid pack ready and, authorizing a contract with C2A to get those bid out for us.
One more question, sorry. Where would the money, do we have money budgeted or allocated or saved in your fund that we were talking about
Yep.
for this?
A good question. We actually have been looking at this for a couple of years and it would come out of this, the enterprise.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so the motion is do we go out and get bids? Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, the motion to get bids for the generator has been approved.
We'll keep an atom on for like the next couple.
Okay, all right. Number 8, GIS update proposal. Question as we go, do we want to combine that with the heat? Or are they
No,
not
it's
related?
different. No.
Different, okay. As I was reading it, I thought, I wonder if this should. Okay, so Paula, you want to talk about what the GIS update? What that is?
I think I'll let Adam explain it because he does a way better job.
All right, so with the SAW program, one of the big things that we did was collect information, conditional assessment data on the sewer system, both sewer systems, the storm and the sanitary. We also combined that with some additional parcel data and some background information that we've been using in a GIS system. That data was built on platforms that were started in 2014. So as we all know, the technology is advancing pretty quickly in the ability to maintain and address the interfaces and how we use and interact with the data.
Adam, can you hang on just a second?
Sure.
GIS is. So GIS, tell me if I get this wrong. Geographical information.
System, yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. So it's basically when you have a tree, you can put it in the system where that is, longitude, latitude, exactly where that tree is. And on this system, you can see it. So where a road is, or where a water hydrant is, or where a building is. So that's really what the GIS is doing. It's helping you find geographic things. So, okay, sorry, I just thought of that.
No, that's great. And in part too, so you guys have probably not realized it, but I'm sure we've had maps in front of you that are from those systems. We've had exports of data. We utilize this information quite a bit as we go through and try to make determinations on priorities as part of the asset management planning, the capital improvement planning that are done with the infrastructure. So it's very key data. Right now, that data is housed on a server at City on one of the machines in the office there. And we also have a separate setup of the same data so we're maintaining data in 2 locations. So what we're proposing is to be able to maintain that data in a single location now. And it allows us to have all of us to have a little better access to that data. So it would be moving the current database information to a cloud-based format that's with the same software we're already using today. May have heard Esri noted or something along that ArcGIS. Those are their software packages that we use to access that data. And what we would be doing is setting that up so that our database information would be up there, and we would be able to create maps and interfaces for all of us, city and C2AE, to be able to utilize, view, edit, and maintain, and have it in a single source.
So like right now, if the guys go out in the field, they have to download it to either a GIS handheld or to a tablet. And this would allow them to access it from their phones. Like if they're out in the field, they have a backup, should be able to pull that up right off of the,
Yeah.
yeah. And then like, so when we're sharing data with C2AE, you know, we fixed a pipe or we did something, so now we either have to figure out how to run the GIS stuff and get it uploaded and change our maps, or we have to get it to them and then they have to get it back to us. So we have a lot of chance for error there, that we don't get something put into the system. And that SAW grant that we got was $750,000, and a lot of it paid for this data that we have. And it really needs to be kept up. And if we don't keep it up, then, you know, when we run into the problems that we've ran into, well, where'd that pipe come from? But no, I mean, we really feel like, you know, we're ahead of the game on this, and we have, our files are in great order, and, you know, well, we just want to make sure we can maintain it and keep it that way.
Question for you, do we have money for this? I'm looking at all this money that being just thrown out, I feel like this here's expensive for all that.
It's for the sewer system, and we do have money for it.
Ouch, I'm upset now. When it's going out. Just saying.
So we look at some of those funds that we have been collecting money, and you're saying we have money that we've kind of.
Yep, this is in the sewer fund, so if you look at the treasurer's report that we approved earlier, and you look at the sewer fund, which is the 590, that's how much money is in there.
So I gotta, so if we change this date, how much time will this save you guys? Approximately.
Depending on the day, but for the most part, if any of my guys can pull it up with a phone, it would save a ton of time.
Like 15-20 minutes a day.
Depending on what we got, how many mistigs we've got going. I mean, I can go out mistigs and do them directly off my phone. Right now, I've got to come back. I've either got to look it up in there, or get into the office and look it up. So it, you know, anywhere from 15 minutes to 2 hours a day.
So I mean, because just from my look of it, because this is how I look at things with my
Well,
business.
I can tell you right now that when we're in the middle of the mistig season in the spring, it's usually a couple hours a day.
So if we look at that over 5 years, that is a very small amount of money. In my mind, looking at how much labor it's costing, how much time away that other tasks that can be done. And that's how I look at things. When I look at, all right, what is this going to save me in time? Because time is money. So I would say the 7,900, you make that up in probably 3 years.
So another question, Adam, what's the ongoing, so this 7,900 is a one-time cost to get us migrated from our in-house server to our in-cloud server, right? Is there an ongoing cost then for running it in the cloud?
So the software that license that you guys already are maintaining allows you guys access to the cloud space.
So
So
the cost is the same, I mean,
correct. Now there are some components of the data that may not go up to the cloud yet. We still would maintain there. So if we want to bring everything up to the cloud, that would be, we have PDFs of record drawings. We have photographs for finding structures. We have sewer televising data that's out there. Those are very large. They take up a lot of space. And if we wanted to bring everything like that up into the same spot too, that's why there's a note on there. There would be some kind of a maintenance cost for additional cloud storage space. But as of right now, the data would be able to be held on the cloud with the credits you guys have.
so my computer is starting to kick in, right? So what do we do for backups today? Here, we're the on-prem,
We have a backup.
you have a backup to go to tape and.
No.
No,
No, it's all on the cloud,
okay, so you back up. the
but that
cloud
one
now.
is not, because that's not hooked to the server. The one that has all this map data.
Right, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
is this data.
No,
right,
that,
Yep, so our backup right now that's in place is the redundancy of the data.
Between the two,
So,
okay,
yep, so you guys have the data and we also have a copy of the data.
okay, so it is backed up, but then if it's in this, is it in ArcGIS or where is the, I mean, they would back it up then.
Yes, so this would be moving it to the ArcGIS, the Esri cloud space. Yep,
Okay, and they would do the backups, then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
correct.
Perfect. Sorry, just like I said, computer consultant kicking. Okay, we have a motion for this GIS update proposal. Do we have any further discussion we want to have on this? Any questions?
we don't have a motion on this one, do we?
Or do we? Did I not do the
Oh,
motion?
good.
Sorry.
Good. 'cause
All
I'm
right,
like, I
sorry,
don't
all
have that.
right, sorry. Do we have a motion? Can
I
we
would make
make
a
it?
motion to accept this and move forward.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion, questions? I mean, it's kind of the trend of where things are going, and we may pay $7,900 to get it moved to the cloud now. We may pay $20,000 to put a new server in a year or two because it's grown, right? If we don't do this, so it's costs are gonna be there anyways, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm just happy to hear we have money for it, so
Yeah,
that
right, yep,
Right.
it's there.
yep. Okay, any other discussion?
No,
All
I'm
right.
glad to see that there's enough money in the sewer, period, because that's one thing I don't want.
Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes,
Beavers.
Yeah.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Geisler.
Yes. Okay. Thank you again, Adam.
Adam's on for this one.
All right, Adam, you're on for this one. Bonding for street, parking lot and sidewalk projects.
All right. So I know we've had some discussions over the last year as to getting involved with which roads and projects that we wanted to move forward. We've been looking at how that work could be funded and looking now at doing some bonding here for the first round of this. These streets that are in this package and the mix of fixes that are in there as well are all based off of the capital improvement planning that we pulled together over the last couple of years in putting a plan in place for maintaining the road assets at this point. And what we've looked at for this first round here are things that are more capital type of improvements that would be tied to the bond. So it has mill and resurface work, some removal of the HMA surface entirely and replacing it, a little bit of overlay, so just the covering of the existing HMA, and then a big portion of what is called chip and fog, which has been done in the city before. It's where they'll put a layer of tar, stone, and then cover that stone again with a sealer to keep that from moving around, and that gives us a sealant for keeping the water out of the roadbed, and some additional wearing course for that pavement for several years. So,
Adam, can you go back and you kind of covered what the last one was, the chip and seal and fog. Can you kind of go over what the other ones are, a little more detail?
sure.
Not a ton, just a little bit, right?
Yep. So the first item there on the list was mill and multi-course non-structural HMA overlay by definition for, we use these and have set this program up so it moves well in what is called the MDOT Category B applications that we've been doing on an annual basis. This is those would be taking the HMA section off, so the asphalt pavement, and removing that and then repaving that work.
Okay.
The next one is a single course, so we would take about 1.5 inches off of the existing pavement section. They'd come out and grind that off with a mill, and then they would repave that. And the next line is a single course overlay. And that would be, there would be no change to the existing pavement itself. They would come out and actually pave a layer of asphalt right over the top of the existing.
Perfect.
Gives us a little bit more time on those pavement sections.
Can I say one other thing?
Sure.
For the new people, so the city has spent some money to come in and assess all of our roads and put in some kind of a plan so that we can maintain it over the years. They were, all the roads pretty much as sidewalks were assessed as to what, shape they were in. And that was something that was,
So
It was
the,
pretty big.
yes.
so the state has a program for measuring like 1 through 10, what these roads are. Why is it escaping me what it's called?
Hazer.
Pazer rating. So there's a Pazer rating and it's pretty standardly used among, road agencies. And, not something that, I grew up thinking I'd ever even gonna know what that was, but now I know what it is. And so these roads, when we bring you something and we say, this is the treatment we think we want to put on Church Street or whatever. It's not really what we think, it's what we've determined based on the standards and the Pazer ratings. And so what we asked C2A to do, maybe 2 years ago now, year and a half.
Yep.
They went out and they did this for us
That's
on
right,
all
I
the
saw that.
roads, the sidewalks, the parking lots, and so now we have a really good idea of where our system is, which we knew, but we had to update it because we've done a lot of street work. So now we don't always do the worst first. And we do a mix of fixes. So say there's a spot that is just trashed. Sometimes putting all your money on that little road or that little section that not as many people drive on doesn't make a lot of sense. When you have a large stretch of road that maybe a smaller amount of money could fix and keep it going along for a few more
Like
years.
Woodbury.
Yep, so there's a mix of fixes that we sometimes do here, and that's what you're gonna see, and that's what we've prepared. So these are based off the Pazer ratings, right, Adam?
Yes, and we had in the capital improvement plan set up and tried to balance years for which types of work and when they could go. With the way we have this set up right now, we did pull the total reconstruct sections out. Those will be significantly more expensive than the other sections that we're looking at here. And that could be pulled into an entirely separate package, maybe in the future year, and keep that similar type of work together. The other work that had some overlap here, that if you remember that table from before that isn't in here, we've slid it to the future, is Grand River. So there will be a few times where sections that need some attention out there yet, but there are some potential for some other funding dollars over that time period that we can leave that open and available for that, or it could come into that next round when we look down the road.
We're also, looking at the bonding, we're also gonna try to apply for category B funding again, which is 250,000. We would have put in 250, we would get 250, and it's only on local streets. So when you look at these maps, we have local and we have major. Which I don't think it's mapped out on this map, but so. This is a mix of them. We got both in here, but remember how when we did the budget, I told you we have major street money and local street money. We can't spend them on each other, so there's rules on what ones you can move and that kind of thing, but. But the category B funding can only be used on local streets and it's mainly for maintenance.
So I don't know.
Dave just made a copy of the Pazer rating system, so you guys can see what we got going on here. Pick one down, pass it around.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is the right spot to bring this up, but we're talking about streets. Something we've talked about a little bit is the Looking Glass apartment complex down there that, as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's part of the street that is the city's responsibility for fixing, and there's a part of the parking lot that's their responsibility for fixing. I've heard from a couple people that it's really bad. We talked to Lori Leonard, who's on the board for that. They have a new management that they're getting where they want to do, and I understand we were waiting because they weren't willing to put their portion of it into fixing that, right? Well, it sounds like they're getting closer to wanting to do that.
So it sounded like to me, we just took care of the, where you drive through, but the parking spaces were their responsibility or something.
I think that's based on Paula and I's discussion before. All
And I
I'm
didn't
doing
bring
is.
those numbers tonight,
Yeah.
because you didn't tell me.
Yeah, I know,
But
yeah,
we did get bids on that, information, but I'm gonna tell you right now that that's not in here.
Yep.
That's not in any of this.
Yep.
And I mean, the price of it it's pretty high.
okay,
And that's a local street. I mean, it could be something we put in the Cap D. But in that capital improvement plan that's been approved,
2026.
Dave says it's in 2026.
okay,
So, not that it
Right,
can't be moved
right,
up,
right,
not that, but when you start moving things around that we categorize, you gotta make a case for why.
yeah, got it.
Or everybody's
it.
gonna come in here and say,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree, it's in rough shape.
Right, right.
But what can we do to hold it over, and how do we get there, and when they say they're ready to come forward with funding, what does that mean?
I don't, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know that Lori really knew, right? Are they really going to? Don't know. I just wanted to get
Because
out
I
there
have
so
had
people
communication
knew.
with the
that-
management company,
Have you?
and
Okay,
they don't wanna spend that kind of money, was the last I know.
Which is kind of ridiculous, in all honesty.
But they don't have it.
Right.
right,
Yeah.
right.
There isn't anything we can do to help that, right? As far as, I mean, 'cause
I've
that
looked
was what we
around
had
for some
on-
grants,
Yeah.
there's really, I haven't found anything yet, flowing to loans, but. I mean, I think they probably know they have access to some of that stuff, but.
I don't mean to shut it down, but
Yeah,
we're
no.
kind of way off course.
Yeah. No, you are correct. Thank
You,
you.
you did tell me to
No,
tell you.
no, you did, I did, yeah, but and I got it.
Of course, if you wanna do that road instead of something.
That's true, but yeah, so
But I do think that road requires a lot of discussion.
And we need to get there, yes, we're gonna spend our portion of the money too, so I don't
Right.
think we're there. I just wanted to get it on the table that I've heard from a couple people, yeah, we need to keep it maybe not front of mind, but
And just so you know, Adam and I talked and looked at that, and that comes down, there's spots in there that's gonna be major reconstruction.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Any other discussion on the bonding? What are we, I guess maybe what are we looking for from a council action on this?
Well, basically, if you wanna move forward with this, we wanna get bids out so that we can bond. We don't wanna bond before we get the bids back. Right? So we wanna know what this project's actually gonna cost, so we know what we wanna borrow.
Okay, so we need a motion to go ahead and go out and get bids.
Is that right,
Right.
Adam?
Correct.
Okay,
You gotta make a motion.
I second that.
okay, any other discussion? All right, do we need a roll call for this?
Sure.
All right,
Miller,
yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Beavers.
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
yes.
I think this is your last section.
I just want
Adam.
to say that I got cheated on my map.
Kathy must have copied yours.
I printed my own.
Oh.
Well, all right.
A new
I
copy.
used those.
All right, DNR. Looking Glass River, this is the boat landing issue where we got denied, and then we asked Paula to go back and find out some of the reasons why we got denied and if we could improve next time. And there was some good discussion on why we did and some suggestions and some thought that maybe if we went back and made some changes, we might no guarantee, get approved, but it does require more cost from the city. I think the big thing was right now, we're 33% match. It was a $300,000 grant, we were gonna put in 100,000, how that figures out. And now they're talking about having a 50-50, so we would have to put in 150,000 to have a $300,000. To get the grant for 150,000.
Maybe we should table it.
That's.
Then I can't get an application in by April 1st, just so you know.
Yeah.
you can't-
The only
can't do
thing I'm
that.
concerned about, I guess.
No, I mean, if you table it.
Right, got it.
So the only thing I'm concerned about is I know it's another $50,000 that we have to, I mean, we were already, the council before. Did 100,000, we'd have to do another 50. But I feel like there's issues that we haven't resolved about how we're gonna. The security
Yeah,
of
there's a
it,
lot
how
of
we're gonna,
things.
and it's like,
And they don't have the time to do it either, like to go out there and clean up after everything. I mean, that's a lot of work.
but she's right, cause I went to this meeting and. They suggested if we go back through and do these things, there's a good chance that, I mean, like you said, we can't guarantee that we could do this. But I guess it's that she has to have it done by April in order for this to go on. I'm leery.
Last time we talked, you said you wanted to move forward.
No, I said I wanted to find out what we scored and if we could improve it. I didn't necessarily say I wanted to move forward.
Oh.
When I found out we had another $50,000 that we have to come up with, it made me think, do we have these other things resolved, like how we're gonna police the area? How the neighbors are, the different things, and that made me think again.
Why don't we just sell it to the neighbors out there?
Can we sell it for $1? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or have them,
Just kidding.
well, have them
Economic-
police it for a year or whatever. for fuck.
that Property based on.
I have no idea.
No,
Let them run it for a year for a buck like they
that
have
would
been.
be a waste. They can sell it, it's waste, no.
As far as, is this one just?
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, let's get a motion on the table. Do we want a motion?
She said the table.
I get
I
it.
mean, kind of table it, I think. that-
So so we.
I agree, but yeah, it's gotta
Pursuing if
be
that makes
discussed.
sense. Yeah, I get it.
I think that you all should get educated on the project before you say it's not worth pursuing, because it means a lot more than trouble.
I
for
think
the-
my biggest
both the
concern is the
DPW
financial aspect, like where's the money gonna come from to be able to get it? Like, I get that we have a budget, but when you're looking over the budget, like you were telling us, I just don't.
Do we?
See, I'm not saying that the plans aren't amazing, because they are, and I
Yeah,
see
they are.
tons of potential with it. I'm just saying funding wise and manpower wise, where is it coming from?
Well,
So
were
can we
planning
take
to use
another,
our
year,
ARPA
take all
funds.
this years and
Absolutely.
figure out how we're gonna police it, how we're gonna maintain it, what the costs are for, doing that. I guess I'm just worried that we don't have a whole lot of time to
Are
redo
these-
this, and we gotta come up with another.
But
amount of
there's
money.
two grant applications.
Mhm.
So if we apply for the same one we applied for, there isn't any more money.
That's true, we could still go
So
into
to say,
33.
yeah, to say that it's automatically extra money is not true, because there are.
Okay.
That's
True.
true, that's true.
But that was one of the things they said would make our application more
Attractive.
approvable.
Well, right, if
Yes,
we
yes, right. Right.
increased our match,
Right,
or if
yes.
we,
Right.
Yep.
If I may, so they gave us comments that could increase the potential points scored to 80 points. And if the match is a big concern, that is 20 points out of that 80 points, but there's still another 60 points that's out there. And the program itself did not get the normal funding level that it would have last year. So there were a lot fewer projects that were actually pulled in to be funded. So it doesn't hurt if that is a concern to maybe still go through the reapplication process and decide whether or not the match is going to be worth those 20 points. And it still be able to grab that additional 60 points that are out there.
Because they did say they thought they scored us low and some things that they were surprised they were as low as they were. That if went back through, it might score higher even without this.
The key is the competition. Each time that this is applied for, you're competing against different projects. So having it in there is the only chance to be able to get it. if there's even if there's some things that we may not necessarily want to go grab all the possible points that we could get after, it's still worth being in the running if they do put more money in there, or they see some of the demand from these other programs that they do need to start showing some additional dollars moving in this direction.
Is, what would it hurt to put the application?
It wouldn't hurt
Nothing.
anything.
So while that's getting processed, then we can go through and figure it out. If we don't think the overall economics of it, can we withdraw our application?
You don't sign the grant agreement. and
Okay, so it doesn't hurt anything.
I don't know if
To
it was
move
great
forward.
for
No.
future applications.
Right.
I don't think it
I'm
was,
just,
you
I'm
know,
just saying, instead of tabling it, because we gotta move it, we gotta get this done. You gotta have this thing in by April, so when you get that process, we submit it. If we are awarded this, but we find out costs too much to police and to clean up, we back out of it, we don't worry about it, then we figure out what we're gonna do with the property, or we just get it done, and if we get awarded the smaller grant, now we have the money that we wanted in the first place, then we move forward. I'm just trying to, instead of just wash our hands of it, what other options are there? I just don't want to waste
the
what we put
funding
in.
for the project, was, you know, we had discussed previously using ARPA funds. We have 128 or 137 somewhere thousand. And if we don't get this project and are unable to commit those, then we will just put them to street projects. But that was one of the discussions, but there is enough money in the fund balance to cover that match.
So my understanding is though, is the other city council, made the motion that $100,000 is put for this project. If we would have came through and won that project, we would have been, I'm not saying the word that obligated, but you really want to not take, you don't want to put into a grant that you're not gonna later take out of. That's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You're taking away from somebody else. That's how I feel. So that's the only thing I was concerned about, I guess. If you went back and didn't do the 50% match, but just resubmitted, the one that you did before,
With
is
the
that an
other
April
changes.
timeframe? Right, is that an April timeframe or?
They're
was it-
both April
They're
1st.
both
deadline.
April. Okay.
At least we should do that, at least we should do. For the $100,000 that we already.
Because that should be pretty easy for us to resubmit. And actually, I have an email into Riley, the guy from the DNR, because Adam thought that maybe because it was contaminated, it would not be eligible for the land and water conservation. And I haven't got an answer yet. He is looking into it because he said if it wasn't actively contaminated, but I mean, we have information from the DNR, what's in there, but it's not contaminated like fuel or, like oil.
Contaminations can be fixed.
Yeah, and this is a contamination that
I
is-
mean,
it's,
plants can fix that. stuff.
yeah, well,
Certain
not
plants.
this is like, tires and
Physical
debris stuff that would have to be removed.
But chemicals and such can be fixed and then the debris could be removed if that was ever an issue down the road that needed to be done. That's not a big
That's a
deal.
lot of money.
I mean, I can plant some plants. Go get the Boy Scouts out there and start taking, no, I'm just
Do
kidding.
you know how deep trash is?
No, I mean, I'm not really sure why, but I mean, we have a report from the DEQ or the DNR or whatever it is, and all of that stuff is out there. But if we're doing what we want to do with it, we're okay right now.
I'd like to have you weigh in. What do you think about having to police an area that's not in the city limits?
I don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue.
Because really, when someone calls, it's gonna be, what is it, is it Woodhull that's, who's in, what county or?
It'd be
township
Clint, it'd be
is it?
Clinton County.
No. It's in Scioto Township.
Scioto, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if somebody has a complaint, they always gotta call in the dispatch and then they give it to us, but,
Okay.
um,
So your support, you're okay with this?
yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all.
And you.
And
are
most of
too.
the people that are gonna be using it aren't gonna trash it.
When we put this in the first place, we had to put in part of what our maintenance and maintaining.
So is there gonna be a gate and everything then too?
Yeah.
Was there gonna be-
I
I seen the other plans, I just was curious about gates, I did.
So can I make a motion?
Yeah, you're good.
I'd like to make a motion to go forward with the grant, but not include the 50% match, right? The 20 point.
Yeah,
What is
the
it
grant,
called?
it's just the first.
Just leave our.
Just leave it as is, but was there other things? Pause. Was there other things that we were possibly wanting to add other than the? I mean, as far as the in the grant.
I'm trying to understand what
Yeah.
you're.
So there were two things we could do, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. We could, same grant we went for before,
Or add the 50.
adding the 50, right? Or we're leaving the 50 off, right? Leaving our match the same as it was, or increasing that match.
Right, there was
There-
no other options of.
Yes, there was another grant that we could apply for, that Paul is the one that she's checking on. With that site being contaminated, we might not be able to apply for anyways.
Okay, so,
That one is a 50%.
And that one is definitely.
But they're
50%.
saying if we want to get 20 extra points on the previous.
right,
application, if we upped our match to 50%, we would get 20 points.
so I make a motion to do the original.
Got it.
Do we have a second?
Okay. Looks like that.
I would second the motion, but it's discussion building.
No, we can have.
Discussion.
Now we can discuss it.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Discussions after
But I
the
would second
second.
that vote.
okay. Further, okay. You asked if there was gonna be a gate. Do we remember on the plans
they
if there
said
was?
There
Was a gate.
Cause I think that's one of my concerns. I mean, look at what happened at Batesville Park, you know, I mean, when we're gonna put money into it. You got hooligans out there. I was a hooligan once, I get it. I mean, I understand. I just feel like if we're gonna put money into that, which I'm all for. I just wanna make sure that we have our ducks in a row. Is my biggest thing. I'm completely content with going through with the application. I just feel like. Me being new to council, I had questions as well, so.
And by all
And I
means.
was gonna ask
question.
them.
Yep. Any
Well,
other question?
And I also think the neighbors out there, they're gonna be
Well-
paying real close attention. I can tell you that too.
Well, see, that's what I was, you know, it is what it is, but.
'Cause I know the neighbors out there and I heard the scuttlebutt with them also. They'll be on board with that part,
All right,
the policing part.
any other questions, any other discussion? We have a motion to go ahead to proceed with reapplying.
Sure, we can roll forward.
I don't know.
I think we should.
Okay, so nobody has any other discussion or questions? All right. Do you need to do a roll call? You wanna do a roll
These
call?
guys want to roll call. sounded like-
I was just
I just
curious.
have money and I just feel like it's a new council. I don't know.
Yes, roll call, please.
We had enough discussion. Like,
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yeah,
Nichols.
Yeah.
Beavers.
Yes.
Judd,
yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay,
I,
next one. Resolution 2303, annual poverty exemption policy.
I think we're done with you, Adam.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
So do we have a
I make a
motion?
motion.
We have a second.
We
Okay, we have a motion in a
We're
second.
talking about this.
Now the discussion. Yeah,
Resolution.
to approve, yeah, resolution
I'm sorry, who was the
2303.
second?
yeah.
It's done every year.
Mm.
It's just.
I just wanted to know what we're motion, because I was.
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
talking to
no,
Adam.
yeah.
Basically, it's a poverty exemption that is allowed. You have to meet federal guidelines. Federal guidelines change every year, so like the dollar amount that you have to fit within. So we update this policy every year to include the new federal guidelines.
What is it exempting property from?
So if somebody comes in and they fall within that guideline, they go to the board review and then they can have their taxes reduced.
Property taxes.
Sweet.
Property
Did you see
taxes.
that over there
Yeah,
about-
But you have to qualify.
yeah, it's all- yeah.
But that's what this policy does, is allow that. And this is a roll call.
I reverse.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call. vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen.
Yeah.
Nichols.
Yes.
Beavers,
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler. Yes. Geisler.
Yes. All right, resolution 2304, tentatively approving assessment role and scheduling public hearing. Didn't we have the public hearing last time?
So we have 2 public hearings with every special
Yep.
assessment.
Yep.
So yes, we did have a
Yep,
public hearing,
we talked about
but
this.
then we have to have another one.
We have to have an.
I make a motion.
1 second.
So do we want to approve, this is the what, $1,700 for 219?
1743 for demolition,
Yeah,
dangerous.
Well, we've already demoed it, we've already mowed the
Yeah.
lawn, we're,
right, this is
Just
charging,
put the stuff in the
charging
back
them
and the-
for them.
yep, so what you're doing is approving this specific assessment role.
Mhm.
The last time we were approving the actual, like, you guys want to do this, and now this is the role, this is gonna go on their taxes, this gives them one more chance to come and say, no, don't put this on my taxes, or if it was a large group, they
Yeah,
can come in and say, well, what a benefit are we getting out of this, or it gives them one more chance.
So we want to make a motion to
So
have a
what-
public hearing on March.
Yep, so it's it's, if you pass this resolution, then the resolution explains all of these things and sets the public hearing. Under item number 4, the city council shall hold a public hearing on March 6th, so it's all in the resolution.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve this resolution?
Like
yeah.
that one. So they've already had a chance.
Yep.
They didn't go.
They didn't come
So
once.
now we're feeling nice. I'm gonna give them another.
I
chance.
think we're quite.
No, our ordinance requires. Yep,
If it's required, then okay.
Yep, it's a required,
Yes, Greg, we're being nice.
yep, we're just trying to make sure we're crossing the Ts and dotting the I. And then they can't even appeal it if they don't show up.
All right. Vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Okay, that resolution 2304 has been passed. All right, 13, authorization to sign CEDAM agreement. Everybody knows about the fellow and.
Yeah, I
So do we have a
make a motion.
motion?
Exactly.
Do we have any discussion on this?
No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I thought, listen, do we have any candidates that applied yet?
All of those go through CEDA.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said, yes, every municipality does at least have one. So, well, as long as, I mean, this kind of combines the two together for me, but what I really want you guys to do is if you know of any places for us to send this recruitment information, or if you know of anybody to come to that website, and all the applications go through CEDA. So, but I would like help promoting this any way you guys have. So if the LBCA wants to share it. Lions Club, whatever, you know, if there's an email group you want to send it to, Baker College, we were thinking we're gonna get it over to them. And then, you know, it's out on all kinds of stuff, so.
Okay, any other discussion, any other questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, aye. Authorization to sign CEDAM agreement has been approved. Yeah,
So the next item was that, I mean, it's kind of a continuation of this, so I would like some help, like once we, like, I don't know who wants to sit in on the interviews and that kind of thing, so we're gonna get there, but I don't know how you guys wanna handle that.
When would they be?
I think they have a time limit, don't
I feel like it's in here, but I don't know, because I have a whole bunch of,
they? I feel like there was a time.
I think in March or April, because they start in May, they would start May 15th. So,
That's my birthday.
I mean, you guys wanna do a committee, do you want, like, do you
I
want, how
think
do
we
you
want to have
want?
a committee.
Do we want to have somebody from the downtown? I mean, so that's what I need help with. We want,
Yeah.
And
Mm. Not, we'll talk about it.
I don't know where, that's what I felt like there was something.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I
so
don't know
what
what
committees
that's
do we
about.
want somebody?
I have to get-
yeah, I mean, if you just want
Planning?
to let me know how you want to
Okay.
do this, or if you want these guys' input, I mean, I'm just saying. You know, I'm gonna go through all of this, and if somebody wants to participate, I think we need to get that figured out.
You think 3 or 4 people for an interview?
Well, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Does that
I
sound
mean, I
good?
think that,
Yeah, I don't want to get too
we
many.
don't want 25.
I don't think- I'm joking about that. I don't want- Yeah, here's your life. Yeah, so, okay, I'll come up with a plan. And we'll figure out who will be part of that. So, okay, all right. Number 15, approve the resignation of Randy Craig from the Board of Review.
I'll
So,
make a
that was-
motion
yeah.
to resignate.
do we have a second?
A second.
So for those of you that don't know, his employer thought it was a bit of a conflict of interest for him to be on that.
Yeah, question, what is board of review?
Board of Review is, if you have a question about your property tax, and think it should be lower or should be changed or something, Board of Review, you can come in and get in front of them. There are, yeah, 3 people and the assessor.
Which they don't meet very often.
They only
No,
have 2
twice.
meetings and then like 2 that they meet by themselves for like a half hour or whatever.
And 2 training, I call them training
Yeah.
sessions, right?
And then 2
But then
full.
One day it's 3 to 9, and one day it's 9 to 3. And
I was curious what it was.
I was on it for 2 years and I think I saw 4 people.
I was on it
So-
for a month and saw 2 people.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, so it's not very,
Oh, maybe
not very
like 6
active, not
months.
very busy, but besides that. Okay, all in favor of accepting his resignation?
I,
All opposed? Aye. All right. Great. His approval or his resignation has been approved. All right, 2022 Police Department statistics. Ian, you want to take this?
Sure. I'm assuming everybody got a copy of the statistics.
Yep.
Hopefully,
If the copier worked right, they did.
yeah. So
Not in
I
color.
guess after reviewing it, if anybody had any questions.
no.
Say that again, Dan.
Do we
Sorry.
have any
I
questions?
was distracted.
Okay,
This looks like you've been very busy.
so, you know, our complaints are typically right around 200, so. I think everything's kind of consistent of where we've been at. You know, we do issue quite a few traffic tickets. So we do a lot of traffic enforcement when possible, and of course. Speed limit says 25, it's not just a suggestion to 40, so. And most of our tickets, we, you know, I don't say this too loud, but usually we don't stop people unless they're 14, 15 miles over the speed limit, so.
Egregious. Through town that.
Egregious. And, you know, stop signs are not just a
Right there.
suggestion, so.
Right, my driving.
Other than that, again, we did have the kind of constant, we did arrest 2 people for drunk driving. So we still, are out there for that, so.
It looks like you're pretty consistent over the last 3 years.
I do have a random question. That's maybe silly. I don't know. What do you consider fraud? I mean, I know what fraud is, but was there really 4 2022?
Yeah, so, those we kind of incorporated with, people getting their, credit cards used at somewhere else, some identity theft. I can tell you this month already, or in January, February, we had 3 identity thefts.
Really?
Some of them had a business account like Home Depot, the Home Depot account got hacked. And they bought a washer down in Cleveland, Ohio.
Huh.
So, identity theft is a real big issue. So,
It's weird that, I mean, it's not bad. It's not weird. It's.
yeah, the
you guys
biggest
are-
fraud is, or again, somebody gets called up and say they have a fine or something and they want them to pay with gift cards, you know, and unfortunately, people fall for that and they're out a certain amount of money because they thought they should give gift cards.
Yeah.
So that type of thing. So,
All right. Any questions? Any information you wanted?
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Appreciate it. All right. Here's an uplifting one. 2021, 2022 cemetery report. Sorry, I couldn't miss this.
I gotta uplift them.
No. Please.
Down to earth report.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we want to do with this?
Any questions? Just,
Any-
we don't, you know, we do have a cemetery board. I don't even know if you guys know that, but,
I didn't know that.
but they haven't met in 3 years. And then the, like, president wasn't, I mean, I don't know, and then couple of the people.
Martha was the
passed
only
and,
one on
you know.
council 3 years ago.
She's like, what?
You know, we had a cemetery.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't know when they met.
They-
I
So,
know, but I'm just saying.
So what
I knew they
happened
had-
when we
yeah.
took over the cemetery or when they gave us the cemetery, whatever, well, look at that. They had like, the lot owners had a group of people that managed the cemetery, so it was private. So they had a board and they decided where they were gonna spend the money and what they were gonna do with it and that kind of thing, but it got to the point where they didn't have enough money anymore. And the state required them to keep so much in perpetual care that they couldn't even buy a new lawnmower. And so the only way to get out of that situation was ask us to help them. And so that's when everything came to us for the cemetery.
So who do you contact if you guys?
If somebody dies,
Somebody, yeah.
yeah, if they need a burial, we get a call.
Okay.
And then we are also selling cemetery lots from
Dave, can you go have them bring the book in here?
the book.
The cemetery book.
And this is my cemetery map. It's, this is, I drew this up and then we went out, we started writing down graves and roads and we're trying to
You know,
make
you can
sure
put that on a GIS cloud.
we're looking
right.
at that. That's the next thing I'm gonna ask right from you. So this is my dog and pony show. This is our whole cemetery, all of these lots. This is like off of Woodbury Road and then this is off, down this end. There's like the sheds down here. This is like the alley with the trees and Shiwan.
This is the cemetery book.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
I saw that.
All the records used to be in somebody's house.
Huh.
And so right now, we're trying to get all of this stuff entered into this pile of
You're gonna
software.
keep that though, right?
Oh, absolutely. We won't get rid of it. We just don't want to keep using it.
I get it.
Oh, why?
Looks like something out in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Skull and crossbones.
When I'm all done, you can draw something up from.
So do we have, I got a question. So does our cemetery have quite a few lots that are vacant? At this point of time or nothing?
It's on the backside.
Well, we do some, but
Got some left?
sometimes it's really hard for us to tell which ones are open, which ones are
Oh.
sold, and who's buried
Yeah,
in
yeah.
them. So that's what we're trying to do is get
I
all
mean,
of
I
this.
can think of an easy way to go.
Yeah, that's what I told Maggie today. If you have a problem with one of these, you send Dave out with a stick. And he can check.
He ain't got time for that.
Right.
So anyways, so we're showing you the report of all of these things, in 2022, we had 30 burials. We've already had 3. And then, and that includes Mount Olivet and the Langsburg Cemetery. And then, these are what we're doing for lot sales. We sold in 21, 22, those 2 years we sold over $8,000 and we're trending to do that again, to sell $8,000 worth this
How
year.
much are they per lot?
400?
That's not
I
bad.
get them mixed up between here and Victor Township. One's 4, one's 5, somewhere like, and then, we also are helping Mount Olivet. So we charge a little extra if the guys go out to do a foundation there, those people get charged more. Cause it's not the city cemetery, it's privately owned.
Where's mine?
Right across the road.
Okay, okay, that's what I was suspecting.
Where the trails are. for-
Yeah.
I mean, last year the
Yeah.
guys poured $7,000 worth of foundations, so we're keeping pretty busy with this.
You ever thought about haunted trails too, then?
All right,
What we're asking for is that, you guys know what we're doing there, A, and B, we may end up needing either that group to meet, or we need to dissolve that cemetery board at some point. And then you guys are just gonna make all those decisions.
It seems
Mhm.
easier.
So,
I guess.
I mean, I feel like it is best, but I don't know,
Well, considering you're already handling it, you might as well, you know what's going on.
so it just,
And their stuff's gonna come to us anyway.
and nobody's really meeting, they're not, I
Well,
don't. really-
who's supposedly in charge of that for the board? Is there a certain person that was like in charge and?
Well,
Yeah, who's on it?
so on the board was Clyde Castler, Bob Haggerty and his wife who both passed.
they're already there.
Yeah, they're married now. Yep, and Mike Jackson and Ed Rouse and his wife. And then I think the hills got put on there.
And I only know like one of those
Was
people,
it?
so.
Lindsay's. She wasn't on the board. No. So I don't know if, you know, at some point we need to consider whether we want to dissolve that board or what we want to do there, but we want to keep this moving forward and get all of these things entered in the computer, and every time, anything new we do, we're doing in the computer. You know, we're uploading documents, all of these things are saved out there, you know, we already use this software, but the rest of the report is the next item where we would like you to consider the proposal to purchase the cemetery mapping software. And instead of this, we could actually GIS, we can click on one of these one of these graves, it'll tell us who's in it. We can print a little map of what's around it, so when these guys go out there to dig a grave, they know right where it is.
So what fund is this gonna come out of?
The cemetery that we're-
Oh, hold on, hold on.
Man, one vote.
Okay, so we're done with 17. We've had the cemetery report, everything's good there. We're moving on to 18, the content software proposal. Right,
Yes,
so do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And do we have a second?
I do.
Purchase the content?
Okay, now we can.
Okay, now
discuss
discussion. Now go ahead. Sorry.
I wanna know where the money's coming from for this too.
it. If we
I'm all
put,
about money right now.
if we put a toilet in one of the sheds, it can come out of the sewage, right? I'm just kidding.
But are we funded for
No,
this, or what would we
seriously.
take this money that we're paying this for out of?
if you look at the treasurer's report, there's money in the cemetery.
Cemetery.
Okay,
And then if you look at all those sales and
Right.
all those things that we're doing. I mean,
that's what I'm checking on to make sure that we got enough like from the cemetery, I guess, to cover whatever else too, and
I
This is
appreciate you
about-
making sure we have money, Marcy.
I'm all about saving money right now. Look
So-
at consumer bills lately.
Almost
my
it's time to
God.
pay the bills.
So this is a $7,000 one-time charge, and then it looks like a $470
Annual maintenance.
annual maintenance.
Yep.
Which is that,
That's not, right. No, just.
I'm guessing it's gonna save some time, not have to dig up, we don't know where stuff is. after you get
I mean,
done.
David,
It's a headache. you know.
Huh?
It's a headache.
That's what I,
we think it's really gonna help us out a lot.
Again, it saves us money in the long run.
So does this tie into the GIS that we were talking earlier?
Well, so this is very proprietary.
Yep.
So, C2A has looked into giving us a price for it, but these guys don't play well with others when it comes to the GIS. They want, you know, but the price was very similar.
Okay,
So, and I feel like, you know, we've got too much invested in this software already to do anything else. It would just be a nightmare. But I think the price has been, I mean, right in there with the one that Adam had.
all right, so we have a motion. Do we want to take a vote for getting this software?
We're spending money.
We're spending money. Yep, so roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
yes,
Nichols,
Yes,
Beavers.
Yes.
Judd,
yeah.
Geisler. Yes. Beasley.
Yes. All right, now this one's gonna be a fun one. Health insurance going up. Paula, you wanna kind of lead us through what you're looking for?
I mean, I printed out like the entire spreadsheet that they sent me. So the very first column, the current, that is what we currently pay. It's $40,000 a year right now. It'll go up to 44,000. Which really, I mean, isn't that big of an, I mean, I know it's $4,000, but
10% is.
it's not really, we've seen a lot worse increases. So, you know, our first inclination would be to just renew it. If we want to look at anything else, then we would just start looking at what the other options are and what the coverages are. If you stick with McLaren, most everybody's in network, all that stuff works. But I mean, we can go outside of McLaren and look at HAP, Blue Care. You know, we can start looking at other plans. I mean, there's one that'll take it down 2.5%, take it down to 39,000. Or, you know, so I mean, it's just,
how many,
I guess at some point, like you said earlier, it just keeps going up. At some point, you gotta decide, okay, what's next? What's our options? Where are we gonna stop this madness? I mean, I don't know.
I would just keep it.
When does Is there a date that this has to be decided by?
Well, I've been trying to work it in with the budget so that we are,
Yep.
you know, but they're. In order for a May 1st renewal, because I think it's May 1st is when our contract is up. So by the time we get everything turned in, they get everything back to us. I mean, probably, next month would be. You know, if we want to take a month to look at it, we could do that.
So how many
I
employees?
second.
Okay, we have a motion to keep it the way it is. We have a second. Further discussion.
How many employees are we talking about for this 44,000?
There's
I
three.
think it says on there, three of our employees and their families.
So this isn't the three of you that are in here right now.
No, it is not. So Dan and I do not.
Okay,
But it includes the librarian, Dave, and one of his employees. We only have, what, 5 or 6 of us that are even eligible.
right.
So right now, 50% of us take it, and everybody that doesn't take it gets $2,200.
So the Blue Care Network is $34,000, but it has different co-pays. We're talking $10,000.
My question is, are the 3 people using it happy with it?
That was where I was going.
I mean, that's what
As
I
far
would
as-
say.
It's good insurance.
I've not heard anyone really.
I mean, like, I feel like I shouldn't have, I mean, obviously I know I should say, but I shouldn't. I would like to know their opinion.
We
I guess
usually,
overall,
like,
yeah.
before we switch, we try to make sure that, even if we switch to a different network, that everybody
Yeah.
can get one of their doctors in, we kind of, because we're small enough, we can talk through that, but I have had no complaints.
That's good.
I've
Yeah,
not had any complaints.
definitely.
So in the past, you said, I mean, because we're talking $10,000 here. I know it's only $10,000, $15,000, and they're covering 3 people. What you did before was is if it affected them, you somehow give them the money that it kind of affected them, like, and into a fund.
So
Like
this
a
one has a 2,500 deductible.
Mhm.
We used to have like 500, what we used to have, so we upped our deductible to 2,500. And that saved us a lot of premium.
So this Blue
I,
Care,
I see there's one, they have a $5,000 deductible.
so go over to option 9. What is that one?
Option 9,
Yeah.
The Blue Care Network HSA Gold.
So those co-pays are $5 more.
it's got a $3,000 deductible, got 20% co-insurance.
Correct. But at the same time too, that annual out-of-pocket cost max is lower for a family
It is,
by $5,000 than what you have now.
I guess I feel like it's worth maybe one more month of being able to look at it. I know you want it for the budgets. I mean, maybe we just use this as the budget, but I don't know. $3,000 a piece saving. If it's not,
so your hospital services are all 20% after your deductible. Durable medical equipment is 50% after deductible.
I mean, I'm okay if people don't want to look at it, I guess.
I'm not saying we can't look at it, I'm just saying that there is a lot to someone,
Yes.
I mean. Whatever you want to look at, somebody's really gotta like figure out
Right.
what is it what's the goal? Like, how much do you want to get it down?
I just know looking at the library budget, by the time we get
It's the.
$30,000
Yeah,
in and then some other, we got $90,000 to work with, and I mean, it's 20-some thousand dollars that goes to healthcare. We don't have enough to buy books and stuff. It's just a way of thought of maybe just thinking about it a little bit, but
So what's the deductibles for the current McLaren?
The current one is it's $2,500 deductible up here. This is full page, what, I don't know, you got your pages messed up now.
Okay,
It says number 62 right here. That's 64.
that's 66.
62 is a little here then? Nope.
I don't have a 62 right here.
You-
I flipped it. I flipped it.
Your deductible is right here.
Okay.
But then, like RJ was saying, then you can look at your total out of pocket, your, you know, family is 13,000. But I mean, I don't, you guys get anywhere near that with this plan?
What, yeah, if I get,
Yeah.
only on the years I decided to have local surgery.
Well, I want them to have good insurance, I think I'll do. That's just something that,
So we already give them an FSA.
That we put that that $2,500
Mhm.
into, I guess it's an FSA. I get FSA, HRA and all that stuff. kind of-
HSA
Yeah,
and-
it gets a little confusing, but so. Though that deductible money like we put it in there, they pay it, they get paid back.
Right.
And then the rest of us that don't take the insurance get 2,200 in that account, but it doesn't go towards your deductible, you can use it for anything. Right. I mean,
so we had a motion for it to
I'd
stay.
say it can sit, I mean, there is a motion to approve it. To
I-
renew it,
Right.
And a second.
yep, but, I mean, this is why I bring it to you now, so there is time to review it and look at it.
Right, there's just 3 people, we're talking $3,500 a piece, I know would help with that. I'm very fine if it's something that's, you know, similar, I guess, at some point, I think we're gonna have to start making these decisions.
Well, it's not
Keeps going
3
up.
people, it's 3 people in the family.
Well, no, I realize that.
And so like some families are more than others, you know, I mean, and if you have just an employee in one, then it's less, so.
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, this McLaren one and the Blue Care Network is, it's, they're close. I mean, you're lower maximum out of pocket for the Blue Care. But like you said, instead of having a primary or physician office, instead of having a $30 for the McLaren, it's 20%, which is gonna be more. So you're more likely to get to the 8,000, but the 8,000 is the highest you're gonna get.
And I might be talking about it a little more than I would be, but I looked at the library budget and we.
Yeah, we have to.
We're
re-go
gonna
over
have
that.
to start to talk about cutting hours or something, because we don't have the money or starting to get some money from somewhere else. Because we
Yeah,
can't
there's-
staff the
there's not
library.
enough- There's not enough there. Sandra and I talked about that this week.
So with this, with the motions, leave it the same. That gets you ready for the budget. So if you put that in the budget here, and then if we take a month and make a final decision on which one, if we stay with it or if we amend the motion at the next meeting, because it gives everybody that time to compare.
Well, we have our meeting in a couple weeks and Sandra and I were gonna go over that because that's something that we have to talk about as a board to be able to communicate with the city council on where we're gonna cut funds for this year, which is majority of Sandra's stuff and quite a few of the part-time people. And it's like, do we cut part-time people to be able to get the budget to where it's enough? Because there's not enough money there to be able to do it. Usually we get a little bit of funding
Right.
with Friends of the
Well, I
Library,
mean,
but it's not.
Right, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but that's the library thing. This is our-
Like this is a big budget thing
portion
for
of
the
the
library.
Then
is
maybe
the
we
health
should wait
budget.
until the library decides what they need to do. But you need something for your budget.
I'm okay with staying with the same, I guess. if
No,
that's what-
I can do,
Yeah.
I mean, I can put a placeholder in there that's more than we're gonna budget, right? And then if you guys come up with a plan that's half the money, we'll have extra money. I mean, that's not a big deal,
Yeah.
but if this motion right here is to renew this, which means I would tomorrow send an email to the health insurance company. They'll send me the documents, we'll get it renewed. So if, that's where we're at.
Right.
So and I think I could probably wait another month on that or whatever, but I'd bring it to you early enough so you can look at this and make some decisions.
And that's fair.
I mean, because just looking at everybody, looking at it and doing math in their head. Maybe we should take it home and do the math and figure out what we think is the best thing, but my personal thought is, I would like to involve the families that did it.
Agreed.
So,
As well as the committees. I mean, putting it all together, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
so on here, we know what the McLaren costs. Do we know what the Blue Cross would cost?
It's all on there, every,
Is it?
yeah, it's all the same.
Okay.
That's why I get packets ready a week ago.
Okay, where am I missing?
It's, so it's 2 pages.
So if you flip. Oh, that's the wrong page. See the back
Got it.
side? If you go down.
Got it. Okay,
That's where I mean, just,
We have a motion in a second to renew it, so we have to vote on that one way or the other, and then I guess whatever happens after that, you guys decide what you want to do. I mean, it is no problem for somebody to tell me, I mean, it's just hard for me to pare this down without help. Because
I think,
the $10,000 renewal price is not that big a deal, or $4,000, whatever it is. So, but if you wanna go, if you wanna lower it, how much do you wanna lower it? I don't know which game we're
Right.
playing here, where we're trying to go, you
Right.
know? We're
Right.
trying to change coverage, we're trying to charge employees.
And me,
we're
I
trying to-
never, ever would have ever even thought that the budget would even affect the library. I can be honest about that. I
It does,
wouldn't
I
know
should have
that.
brought my
You should
paper.
have looked at it.
I mean, I wouldn't have known that. I'm on the planning
That
committee. We
amount.
don't discuss
It's
that
not big
kind of
Have
stuff.
A lot.
I mean, it's,
If you add up-
it's a couple grand a month for the library,
So,
Yeah.
or a little bit more.
yeah.
And our whole budget,
That's-
90,000.
Yeah.
And we're talking
And I didn't
20,000
think about
goes
that or
just
know
to
that at all.
over
Almost
20
cared.
just to healthcare. I mean, I'm
We have
okay.
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Maybe
not-
we investigate it next year, make the attempt to investigate it next year. I don't know. If you wanna renew them.
So are they in the red or what? Are you guys talking they're in the red in the library or no?
No, they're
No,
not.
we're
I
still.
know they're.
It just takes up most of our, like, almost all of
It
it.
takes a lot of the operating budget
Right,
to pay for the benefits.
Mhm.
retirement.
I mean, I think
So-
it's the same, it's just, it's not as apparent in every other budget because the library budget is so small that it's pretty quick to see what the cost of employees and benefits are. Versus ours are kind of spread out and kind of, I mean, they're just, you know what I mean? It's
So we
harder to
notice
see.
it specifically because.
Because
of
it's,
the-
it's so
when-
much easier to
because it's so
look at.
much
I mean,
When
you
does
can
the
see it
renewal-
here in the police budget than you
Yeah.
can the DPW because it's spread out.
When does the renewal have to be in?
I can check, but May 1st, I think, wait, right here, yep, May 1st is, so I need at least a month, maybe 6 weeks ahead of. May
So we
1st.
could give you something for the budget, but you could definitely just put it back on the agenda next month.
Whatever you guys
Right.
wanna do. Right now, there is a motion.
There
to
is a
renew.
motion.
You
Which
Yeah.
said it.
All right.
And I did, and also
We're
just,
off track here.
Taking into
Yeah.
account what Gail had said with it too.
But we either have to take a motion off the table, right?
well,
Or
I was
we have
gonna
to-
say,
We
we
have to
could,
vote, we have
Yeah.
to take a vote.
Take a vote.
you have to take a vote and then you can send a motion.
Why can't we just rescind it now? Just reverse it. act like it-
right, yeah.
All right.
It's just-
I think we have to
it's just-
vote it for-
The rules of meeting, you can
I mean, you don't, I mean,
just vote on it, we voted on it.
Vote
we
it,
don't want
yeah. All right, all in favor of the current motion, vote aye. All opposed, vote aye.
it.
All right, so that was.
So now a new motion needs to be made.
Yep,
Now we're rambling.
I guess I'd like.
The next motion be to table it till
Table.
next month,
Mhm.
then I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
She needs something for the budget.
no, I'm good, 'cause,
Okay.
I mean, we're not gonna go over the
Okay.
renewal amount, right? So I can put that
Right.
renewal amount in there
Right.
as a placeholder, and if you guys come in less, then we're good.
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, I don't think you're gonna do
All,
a heavier plan.
all in
No.
favor, all in favor of tabling it till the next meeting? Vote
Aye.
All opposed? All right, can you do me one favor? If you,
Was that Miller and Judd? Miller and
Yeah.
the table, okay. Okay,
all right, can you do this? Can you get the three folks that are on the insurance, the information about, or is this enough for them to look at it and get feedback from them?
I mean, could you like get it down to a couple? of
That's what I'm
plans?
saying. The Blue Cross, the
I would say
option
we
9
do
and
five,
option
yeah.
1.
Just those two are the only two you wanna look
At
at?
this point,
Okay.
I mean, I didn't go through all of them, but
Blue
That
Cross
just
is
seems a
good,
little
but there was a
knee
couple.
jerk to me. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of like.
Hmm.
I'm just,
well,
do you
but-
see what I'm saying? It's
I
like,
get it.
there's like a whole bunch of plans there. Why did you all of a sudden say these two? I'm just asking.
yeah, because those are the ones we were.
Oh, so what do you want my opinion? Thank you. Okay. I think we should narrow it down for a couple plans between now.
I mean, that's kind of what
And
I
then maybe
don't wanna-
maybe in the finance,
I don't
and then
wanna
again.
give every employee.
I make a motion that we go on to 20.
I think we, at the finance committee, could we discuss it at that point? after we-
Absolutely, whatever you,
after
I
we-
mean, you
That's
guys.
what I think. I think we look at this, everybody has a chance, and they want to give some feedback, and we discuss it. at the
All right.
finance.
Number 19 is
No, I'm
done.
looking at-
Approved budget amendments for police department 2022, 2023.
I make a motion.
Second,
Do you have a second? Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yeah.
Nichols,
Yes,
Beaver.
Yeah.
Judd,
yes.
Keesler, Keesler.
Yes.
Sir.
Sorry. Making sure it's not work. Yeah. All right. Number 21, authorization to pay the bill.
I make a motion.
Second,
Any discussion, any questions? All right, roll call vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes,
Beaver. Judd,
yeah,
Keesler, Keesler.
Yes. All right.
Now the long part of the meeting.
I'll go
Yeah,
first.
committee report.
So the planning commission was canceled.
You were easy then.
Fell on Martin Luther King Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right,
Well, we're gonna-
Finance.
Well, while we're on planning commission, are we gonna meet? On
On
Monday,
President's Day.
President's Day.
I thought we decided yes. we-
I
You
mean,
and I did.
I
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yes,
Okay.
we need to.
I just wanna make sure that
Yep.
everybody's.
Yep.
You gotta ask Tony, he's the
Yeah.
chairperson.
I'll let him know.
Okay.
Yeah, let him know. Okay, finance meeting.
We went over the preliminary budget reports. And reviewed the items that were on the agenda, which was, I think, the car and stuff, so we went over that budget stuff tonight, so.
I was gonna say, wasn't the finance committee canceled?
Yeah, we just had a,
I meant the last time.
Oh.
Last time we met, we just had one today, but that was a month ago.
All right. EDA. Happy meeting. All right, so the big discussion there was Summerfest. They had authorized $1,500 for additional bands and entertainment for around the pancake breakfast. They upped that to 2,500. I don't think that's gonna be needed, but. Sure, she'll make it. Maybe she'll use it, yeah.
What is over there like?
Uh-huh. Yep.
It's gonna be a good old time. Jen West is gonna come out with their little competition girls. It's all gonna be good.
You wanna go over what you've got lined up? We just got-
We've been long.
Okay, all
It's
right.
gonna be good.
Match on Main, Rose Villa, I think we all know this. I think we talked about that. That was right up there. That was first. And then the Michigan Main Street program. Paula and I met with them today. Talking about that, we'll have more to come on that, moving forward, but they're another avenue for getting funding and getting help with downtown. Items, so. Other thing we talked about was banners along the road, having designs, and we're still discussing those and going through
You guys
options.
already
Did
have,
you order some?
Oh, the decision was made to order some of the welcome Langsberg and some of the Langsberg Wolf Tech, I think 20.
we didn't order them, the decision was made to get prices.
To get a price, that's correct, sorry.
We've only been 6-8 months.
Yes, right. Mhm.
We're doing it, we're getting there.
So that was that. Library,
We went over the grant. Let's see here. Oh, so we talked to. I call her Kate. She wanted to know what our mission was for the library. So we're gonna go over the details on, our objective of it, pretty much like the mainstream of what do we want? What does the library want? You know, kind of a thing. So she's gonna look over that and kind of get more of a good view. We got a grant again, but we have to, hold on, I gotta read it because I can't remember everything that we go over. Oh, we still had funding from the last grant that we got. We did get more details on that particular grant because they didn't kind of give us a layout of what we actually required from that grant. So money wasn't actually used because we weren't sure, hey, can we delegate it here? We went over a little bit of stuff with Paula on that as well. We did end up getting a rundown of what we can use that grant for, and we found out we can use it for more than what we thought we were. So we ended up, you know, budgeting that with all of that. And then we did go over the budget. And we were gonna move stuff, but now I'm gonna take the budget back to them and we're gonna go and reevaluate that. And I talked to Paula about the small amount regarding the CD that the library has for the library fund.
So are you doing your pennies for Lincoln campaign?
We didn't hear back from them, so I don't know. They were gonna put a bottle in every business and collect pennies. And that was gonna be donations for the library as well, but from what we've seen at that time at the board meeting, they didn't have anything in the buildings as of yet, so.
Well, they've raised some money on that before.
Yeah, they said that it was quite a bit, but yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, that's it.
I have a question on the library minutes. It
Mhm.
says budgeted. Budget motion to move money from computer support from 5,000 to 4,500.
So that particular area, we had moved money, like that money was already there, but we kind of went over a little bit of stuff, me and Sandra and Gail did, about where we can move money because of that grant. And to be able to make the library budget a little bit bigger in areas that we needed. So we were trying to move money around, but we ended up after going over the library budget, it's not gonna make a difference because we have the grant anyways.
Okay, so if you guys, well, I guess what I'm asking here is if you're doing something like that and you're asking me to make a budget amendment or something.
Right.
I mean, it can't just be in the minutes. Somebody's gotta talk to me about it and let me know
Okay.
what we're, you know.
No, that, hey, if we
budget
can
amendments.
communicate, I'm good with that, because then, you know, we know what's going on.
Yeah, because
We've
budget
never actually
amendment,
went over
you know,
that,
it
yeah.
should really have a, like a roll call vote from you guys that you want to amend the
Okay.
budget. But then when I looked
Write
at
that
this
down.
line item, there, it actually already spent more than that. So I
Right,
was confused why we would budget a line item to go
Yeah.
under what we spent. It just didn't make any sense.
we had
to
went
me,
over
so.
like
So what
a short budget.
So what happened was, I mean, she's
You
getting
based
up
it
to
on-
speed and she's gonna help with budget, but I was kind of helping because, you know, she's newer. And we sat down and got a preliminary budget. It hadn't been approved.
Right,
Then they sat down and looked at it and they thought, oh
We were
no, I
moving
think
money
you should
around
move this
here.
around. It hadn't been approved at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Right, but so
Yeah.
see how this
But
motion
I
would
see how I
confuse
see,
me.
yeah, I see reading it. It sounds.
I
like
had
it
to
was-
put it exactly how I wrote it on my paper,
Yeah.
and that's how I wrote it on the paper, so I'm like, I've got to put it there, because otherwise then, I
So.
mean, I'm not, I understand it, but.
And so
I mean,
you
I
guys
get
are
how
gonna
you
give
would
me some
understand it.
guidance on the CD.
Yes.
After your next meeting.
Yes,
And then we're not changing.
Yeah, 'cause I did
anything
go
with
down
the-
and talk
like,
to
We're not
Sandra.
amending the budget we're in.
yes, no, it was just
Okay,
our,
got ya.
our little checklist budget, I guess is
Okay.
the best way I can say it.
All right, moving on, DPW. Greg,
We met, we've covered just about everything already in this meeting, the, talk about the lagoons, the DNR. The boat launch, authorization for the generators. GIS update, I guess the other thing that we haven't covered is the library's getting this garbage. Plate.
I think they did, it looks like.
everything's
did.
supposed
We
to.
did too.
Yeah, it did, there you go.
We all got
Did I
clean.
miss anything? There you go.
Oh, that carpet's blue. Sorry.
That's all I got.
All right,
Quick and
perfect. Yep. All right. Other, any other?
Please.
Oh, please. Yeah, it's not in here.
Please get
Put it in
their,
the front.
Sorry, I was going through the list as I was flipping them.
all right, so
Yeah.
please get their monthly, I gave it to everybody.
Yeah.
What that transpired, so, nothing earth shattering on that. It's passed over on here. For the fire department. That's this way. All right, the first one is December 2022. The different runs for the city, for ambulance and fire. So at the bottom of the year total for the ambulance was 315 runs. Year to date for the fire department was 599 runs.
On the next page is your 2022 totals. So, on the bottom there, under the ambulance, from January 1st to June 30th, that was when our ambulance was on life support. So
Wow.
we had only 73 runs. When we upped the millage and were able to staff our ambulance 24/7, we actually had 242 runs in that 6-month period.
That's worth
Only
it just
3
for that.
times more.
So that's, takes also a lot of burden off the other agencies that were having to come in and take over our ambulance. It shows also then for the fire runs, what we had for the city for the year, the different townships. Any questions on that? So I made a copy so you guys can look at it. If you have anything, get with me. But those are kind of the statistics. All right.
That's amazing.
How do you well spent?
Agreed.
All right, did I miss any? No, we got the LSW.
That's what that was, right?
Yep. Police was,
Hi, sorry. What was the school threat, if I may ask?
Somebody that was having a mental breakdown had called the school and said somebody would bring a gun to school.
Which school?
Middle school.
Not what a mother of a middle schooler wants to get.
all right, any others?
I have a couple.
Okay,
All right, so there were some questions about wages. I did get this email. I included it in your packets about where municipalities are with their wages. I put in a sample of a project that's happening in DeWitt where they sold the property. Downtown DeWitt sold the property for $1 to get this private investment, so. We can watch that one unfold or maybe our own. I've been trying to set up some trainings in here, like when they come up. So if anybody wants to come and watch them, we did the marijuana one here, Dan
How did
and
that
I
go?
watched it, and it was pretty good. It was kind of boring, but I did pick up a few things out of it.
I work during those.
Which is fine, but sometimes we have one at lunchtime or whatever, or maybe you have a minute and you can come down, but. The MEDC is doing a new Talk to Me webinar series. I included that in your package so that maybe we could share it with our businesses, business owners, the LBCA. This is really tailored towards them, like how the MEDC can help them. And if we do get a group of people that wants to come here and watch it from 11 to 12:30, we could watch it, do some lunch, something like that.
I think I did ask you if you guys wanted me to class. Yeah, I think it's probably something worth.
And then, on the marijuana, I guess, we kind of left that unfinished about, do we want to have a public, meeting with a bunch of people? I mean, what do we want to do there?
To get people up to speed on the marijuana.
We kind of talked about doing like a public, I can't think of the word, because this can.
Workshop?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not like a public hearing, but like a town hall, like where everybody just comes in and we talk and we're not
Questions. that they
we're not
have.
making any decisions. We're just doing Q&A, if somebody's gonna
The
be.
ordinances kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because after I read them, I mean, it is confusing unless you kind of know the rundown of it.
it's confusing when you're working it.
I know.
mean,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
But because you know what you're talking about now, I think it makes it a little bit easier to be able to be like, hey, this is what we have on the table, because I had no idea that we had that many on the table, and I've lived here for 10 years.
So you're looking for a motion to stick with some kind of town hearing?
I think just kind of at least putting it out there, even if nobody shows.
Or
I
just,
mean, it's worth it
we did
after.
talk about that with Connie, and do you want her back?
Oh, for
I
sure.
mean,
She's
we've
fine.
got to
So let's
do.
get Connie and Roy with the
Mhm.
guitar.
Yes.
Go to the auditorium or the thing and back out and a microphone.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of resources on the state website. They talked about that during that thing. The municipal guide is on the state website. There's a video. So some of these things you guys could check out yourself. But I haven't heard from Connie, but she was supposed to attend this as well. But she didn't, she just did it virtually from somewhere else, so.
Just like-
We wanna go out a couple months and pick a date for that.
Or you guys can, put together a group to figure out how you wanna educate people, well, I don't know what you wanna do, so. We probably had 30 public hearings on this and,
Yeah.
Beating the
we
dust.
can educate people. I
No, I'm
don't
not
know.
saying it. We were talking about that. I didn't mean it as you didn't educate people. I just feel when you're coming in as an outsider and you're looking at it, people didn't understand that.
But
And
it's
like I
really-
said, I've lived here for 10 years and I didn't even logically understand that
Which, and
until
I
I
don't,
looked into it and
I think
researched it
unless you
and
read up on something.
Yeah,
or you're
exactly.
Interested, that,
exactly.
that's like,
So my take on it, my thoughts on it was the thing that was in the ballot was written in such a way that made it sound one way. It really didn't make me think that I needed to go do any more research and
Right.
any more reading, right? Knowing what I did
but who wrote that ballot language?
of the state. right?
No, the
No.
guy that owns the pot shop.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
that-
right, right.
Well, because they only have like
Yeah.
certain verbiage
Right.
and stuff that they can use and
Well,
it's
it's-
shelters it.
Right.
I mean, what choice did we have once that went through the process and that was approved?
That's why it was so vague the way that was written up too, because his attorney wrote that up, so what we had to go through for all that.
I just
And
know
that's so vague, I'm like, really?
we
Right,
have a
but we should
moratorium,
be-
we have a moratorium, and if
Right.
everyone here feels like they're up to speed and
I
you
think
don't have any
that-
questions, or do you think we should have something that?
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. That's what I'm.
I mean, I don't think any of us are ever gonna know all there is to know about
Right.
marijuana, I can tell you that right now.
I think it's more about these people, I mean, you've been around through the whole process. I've only been
Oh, yeah.
3 years.
And I
What
didn't
if
ain't
we
go my
come
hair
up
out.
with a recommendation that
That's
we
been a lot.
Do it with the planning commission, the DDA and the city council, and then that takes care of one of our RRC requirements where we have like a meeting of all of us together.
Okay.
And that, I mean, we don't have to do it this week, we don't have to do it next month, we can do it in the
Right.
fall. We can have the fellow plan that, I mean, I just want to know where you guys, because I don't want to go 2 more months not talk about marijuana and everybody go, well, what are we doing?
Right.
So it isn't on me to bring this to the table. It's, I just feel like it's what you guys want and I need to know how you want to move forward.
I like your idea, if it's gonna meet a thing too, to do it, like you said,
Okay.
and then make sure that anybody feel like they need more information to get up to speed, and we kind of interact.
Well, like, should we spend some time educating ourselves and have this meeting late summer in the fall?
I'd say sooner.
I mean, or do you want to have the,
I'd do sooner.
okay,
Why wait?
Yep, exactly.
okay.
Let's take care of it. Let's get it done. Set up for April. Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine. as
So what do you
March,
guys
but-
think about doing it at a DDA meeting, at a planning commission meeting, or at this meeting? We can hold it at somewhere else larger. But that way, we already have one captive group, right? We get one board on board.
I mean, I'd like to get to the budgets too, so I mean, I don't know, so in April, the budget thing too, should we wait till after the budget thing? And then
You guys
do it?
wanna discuss
One
this
more?
at like finance committee or something and pick a date and
I
you
just
wanna
wanted
pick,
to-
I mean,
I mean, if we do it like a DDA meeting, it doesn't interfere with our budget.
I was gonna say, the planning commission lately has been kind of dry as a meeting. I
Let's
mean,
go spice it up then.
and that's a third
And
Monday, so if we pick the.
our
third
mayor
Monday-
wants us to be more proactive.
If we pick the third Monday in May, that would, we could
Yes.
do 2 things with 1 stone there too.
I like that idea, I like that idea.
We could prove our budget that night.
Okay, that was why I was, yeah.
That's what
You're right.
It has to be approved by the third Monday.
Put both of them together and that's good.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good,
Excuse
great.
me.
Happy birthday cake.
Do we want to wait till May?
Yeah, there's no reason.
By the time we get it scheduled and planned out and get all the boards on board, it's gonna be at least April.
I don't know how well it is to communicate and get them together.
Well,
I mean, I'm just thinking the sooner the better instead of waiting and then everybody forgets about it and everything again. We have to relearn what we've already.
and then I also kind of want to know how you want to notify people. What do you want out there? I mean, what, is there a letter? What do you want it to say?
Flyer.
Hey, I'm all about Facebook.
Facebook?
I'd
Which
say
flyer?
newspaper. Flyers cost us money. Newspaper is cheaper.
We can do a blast up that.
There you go.
I never.
Put it on the
read
Langsburg page.
It gives us time to do that too. I feel like, I think our head should be in getting the budgets and get them all done and approved and then do that with the other thing that we have to do anyway. On May 3rd,
Third Mondays,
our third one, I'm sorry.
May 22nd.
then my day. All right,
So
so we need to work on putting an agenda together for that meeting. What we're gonna cover, how we're gonna, what we're gonna.
want me
cover
to
as
just
part of-
put this on next month's agenda?
Yes, yes.
We'll call it whatever, and I'll try to educate the other two boards that we're gonna do this, so that everybody's kind of thinking that way.
I mean. I'll be-
Right.
So.
All right, one last thing, everybody see this magazine? Did anybody get one? Everybody get one? Okay. There are some great things in here that I just wanted to point out to you guys, just real quick. Like this talks about the types of cities and it's got like an organizational chart. We are, a weak mayor form, so if you read this, it kind of explains some of those things and it talks about what other cities do. We got this one talks about balancing business and public participation. I know we talk about how we want everybody to be able to say, you know, but sometimes you might have 6 or 10 people sitting out there and they don't want to talk for 15 minutes. So we're 2 hours into a meeting and haven't done our business. So these things talk about some of those other struggles, those same struggles other cities have had. And then CapCon, it's one of my favorite conferences and it's right here in Lansing. You can either go for the day or there's a date, like a day and a half or 2 days. And it's a great place to get to know your legislators and it's really important that we build relationships with them as well, because they help us with a lot of things. So.
My cousin's husband told me about that.
Yeah.
He works in the council and.
Yep, it's
He was
really,
telling me about it at my sister's baby shower. I'm like, I'm gonna ask our council about that, because that's kind of interesting.
you should have a relationship with, you know, I mean, we had relationships with Ben Frederick, but now he's not there. And so, I mean, I don't really know that I think I've met John Molinar a couple of times, but I don't know of our new ones that I know about. So, it is something that to get on your radar, you know, so that they know who we are. If something comes up that affects libraries or something that comes up that affects police or, you know, then we have a quick contact and at least they have to think about it before they go to vote. So there are good things in that magazine. Sorry, that's all I have.
Okay. We have a.
Like a motion.
Go home and eat dinner.
Second that motion.
I'll be able to eat about
I wasn't prepared. I know, it looks like it.
Yeah.
9:28.
Thank you.